Yo, everybody. Hello, thanks for hanging tight. We actually
Good
started kind
morning.
of on time today. Hello, hello. Don't mind the 15 minutes from 12 that we were chilling and waiting, but
Hey, stream started
the
sharp.
stream did start at
2 minutes
noon.
after sharp, technically.
At noon. At noon precisely. You know what they say about wizards and when they arrive? Probably. I don't think the same can be said about draft players, though.
No.
No.
All it takes is one look at the scheduling channels and know that draft players are
Depends
never
on the
on time.
scheduling channel. Actually, what's really funny is I was out last night for sushi with some friends, and some of my IRL friends are like in the NBA with us, and we were talking about the difference in scheduling between the three divisions. And I think typically like Hustle and Swarm are pretty good. Like things go
Really?
pretty smoothly. They ask for extensions on time. Usually, like unless they're super new and they don't really know protocol or something, like
Yeah.
or they just forget. Sometimes I guess that happens. In Truant, the scheduling goes well, but then people just forget about their games a lot. And so we have a lot of like, oh crap, let me just last minute build kind of thing. And then all-star people are just extremely like difficult, like not flexible with their schedule for some reason. I think they're just jaded with like having to prep so much over their draft careers
Yeah.
that they said, "Yeah, I'm done with pushing my schedule around for other people."
Well, and also the idea like a truant player or a swarm player might just not invest as much time in building, or I was gonna say that I thought that swarm has some of the worst scheduling because you have like kind of the combination of people just forgetting, but
Mm,
also people who are probably in Swarm because they're like chronic procrastinators and like make a lot of team
true.
building mistakes. Whereas because you do have a lot of those players where it's like they're good enough to play in higher divisions, but also like their records don't always show it because like they made one stupid mistake in building or they like forgot something. Like and that's just part of the gig, right? But but I feel like that leads to a lot of like last minute prep or like, hey, can we actually push this back like 30 minutes? So it's less of like the need to completely reschedule and more of like a, hey, I'm not ready yet. Can we wait another hour and then like that sort of thing. Um, but I feel like for All Star, you already know like how much time you have to commit to prep. So it's like you're either acknowledging like, well, I can't play Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday because I'm not going to have 2 hours to prep and then also like play a game. So you have to be a little bit more like adamant about like, all right, well, this is like when I will actually have time to do it because I need to make sure I have basically a full free night to like dedicate to, prepping and not it being my entire night playing the game. Um, so I would think that that's part of it, but also like the more you play draft, the more I think like people get like anxiety about it too. Where it's like that can also lead to like procrastination. Where it's like even if you're good, even if you
Yeah,
have a
I
team
think
built,
both. I think both procrastination and just like length of prep time too, right? Like
yeah,
if you're so anxious, you're mulling over your sets a lot and you're a little
right,
less confident in like the sauce you're bringing, right? So
yeah. Or if you want to like just relax and thinking about building your team makes you very unrelaxed, like that could be
yeah, yeah,
another reason why
exactly.
some people be like, tonight this is not the night that I'm going to prep. I got to
Yeah,
do it later this week. But
yeah,
I hadn't really thought about like with Truant where it's like people just like straight up forget, which makes sense. Where it's like it is,
yeah,
you don't really think of it as like a serious commitment when you're new to it, but like it is like I mean it's
yeah,
as serious as a casual league can be, but like but in a sense it's like where you still have to like respect other people's time and not just like completely
yeah.
flake out
And it's
and then
not,
not say anything. But
yeah, and it's not like everybody's like that, right? Like
right,
I think like you were saying, in your swarm experience back 84 years ago,
yeah,
you kind of had a grab bag. I think if anything, Truant is now kind of the grab bag because I think the more casual of the swarm players are the ones who are kind of the rotating truant
Right.
cast, right?
Well,
Like we were
Truant's
in
also
and out
bigger
the
now
rotating
too.
doors. Yeah, yeah, it
It's
is.
like a
It's a
full-size
full division.
division.
Yeah, is this? I think this is the second time now that we've had full 64 divisions. We had, I forgot to mention, we were actually over capacity for applications. Last season, I was the only one out of all the mods who had to sit, and now this season we have myself and two other mods who are sitting in um, like to allow room for other people. Yeah, we
Yeah,
had
because
about
it's just Lethal
almost
and
70
Storm that are
apps.
playing, right?
Yeah, yeah, Lethal and Royce is playing
Or
too.
Royce, rather.
Yeah, but Lee and Goder are sitting. I think Lee is sitting. Lee's sitting, right? Lee is
Yeah, I
sitting,
don't think we
yes.
reviewed a Lee roster. Because actually, I hadn't
Yeah,
thought about it until you just said it. I was like, yeah, we definitely didn't look at
yeah.
a Lee team.
Well, it's
Um,
okay. We can look at our first team actually that has a very iconic Mon.
True,
It actually has also a very iconic Toadymon.
true. And it also
True.
actually has a very iconic NBA combination of mons this season.
Yeah, it's becoming a very clear pattern that people like the idea of Zardwide Tusk. So, I mean, yeah, let's just dive right into it. I think we do have up first Bobozab here with the Great Tusk Zardwai. And we see actually a lot of kind of Tumon core,
Yeah,
like core offense partners where Tusk and Zard are kind of the sun users, right? And there's the spinner for the the fire flying that can't use boots, and there's the physical and the special contrast. Um, and then you have obviously the Rilla grassy terrain for the unburdened Halucha, which is another tried and true combo. I think
yeah.
specifically the defense boost too for Halucha, in my opinion, is better than the special defense boost that Misty Seed and Psychic Seed give. Um, just for mostly just because a lot of priority moves are physical, right? Like the
Right.
scissors, bullet punches, and a lot of the extreme speeds and things that'll be hitting you. Um,
When Halucha can bulk up,
will
right? I know it normally sword
it can
stances,
bulk. It can bulk, but
but
honestly, it's like not usually as good.
yeah. But
Um,
this way you already get the defense boost without having to like
yeah,
worry
exactly.
about
Yeah,
cocking that.
yeah. And another kind of core here that I want to mention actually is the two other kind of frail attackers that Weavile and Gengar. I actually think those kind of form a bit of a like the basis of the I mean obviously of the speed that's not Halucha. It's hard to consider Halucha part of your speed tiers just because it's like an unburdened sweeper
Yeah.
like 9.5 times out of 10. Um but yeah,
And
it's
it doesn't really have enough
they're both
immediate
of
power
the
to threaten this the speed without the setup and unburden and all
yeah,
that.
and just having like both of the frail attackers be 110 plus I think is really nice. Neither of them can pivot around, which does hurt it a little bit. But again, it has the physical and the special sides covered, so you have something to bring both times. We've talked specifically about Terra Gengar in a previous review. I don't remember who had it in the other division that
I think
had
it was
it.
in Hustle.
That sounds right, but I don't remember who had it now. Um, and I think I'm still not too big of a believer. I totally forgot. Before we get too into that, we
Oh,
wanted
the rating.
to talk about the rating. Yeah, I totally
Yeah.
forgot. Um, and it's pretty
It's
well reviewed. It's a 7.63 out of 10,
yeah, and all kind
which
of clustered
is,
between 7 and 8.
yeah, that's probably in the top like 33%, I'd say, like the top
Yeah.
third. Anything above
Yeah, I
7.5
think
is
we were
pretty
saying
well
like
reviewed.
7.2 or 3 was like the 75th percentile.
Hmm. Yeah, there's also, I mean, we've talked about the bunch of pairs that are going around, but I also think the Vaporeon and Tinkaton are a nice, like a good use of the rest of your points because the top six Pokemon all being mostly offensive, you could argue that Great Tusk can be defensive sometimes. Um, but the
Especially
fact
if it's a
that your
defensive
top six
set and the
Mons,
sun buffs that a little bit when he comes in.
yeah, But the fact that your top 6 mons are like mostly offensive means that you have to find good budget options down the line to bring your defenses up. And
Hmm.
I think Vaporeon and Tinkaton specifically are very good team players here.
Yeah.
Vaporeon pivoting around, trying to maybe heal up Rillaboom or Great Tusk and let them survive a bit longer. And
Or
Tinkaton
even
just having a lot
Zard.
of good util.
Like
Yeah,
even
Zard
Zard
potentially
had to
too.
come in on rocks at some point, and
Hmm.
if you clear him with Tusk later, and then wish pass to get him back to full. Um, and I also like that the water type isn't a water type that like really cares about the sun either. Again, not that
Yeah,
it
it's
like
not really an
it's not
attacker.
staying up that much, but it's like you're mostly just clicking Skull, so it doesn't really matter. Or flip turn,
Or
where it's
really
like
even flip
you're
turn,
not,
which
yeah, you're just
flip
not
turn
really
could
doing
do
a
no
ton of damage.
damage and it would still be fine.
Right. I really like the Tinkaton Grassy Terrain combo too. I think it shores
Hmm.
up Tinkaton's like I don't want to say primary weakness, but like primary drawback of Tinkaton as a defensive mon being that it doesn't have recovery. If you have lefties and grassy terrain, like this mon becomes so much more like long lived, um, which really helps it just get by. Because especially if you like pair or something, and that's like you get a couple free extra turns of recovery. Like there's a lot of things that have trouble getting through it. Um, I think Vaporeon appreciates the passive recovery too. Um, even though it does
Yeah, well,
have
your
its
Wish
own
Protect goes from
right,
like
you just heal so much more.
62.5 with 2 turns of lefties with Wish Tech
Yeah,
into what, 75
that's why I really like Rillaboom with
over 2 turns?
Screamtail too, because it's like you
Yeah.
get so much healing just from that, and it's like it's really nice on mons that specifically have the high HP stat because that if you're basically doubling your lefties recovery, it's like that percent goes a lot longer when your HP stat is higher. So, um, in the same sense that you don't want to get leech seeded, but
Yeah. I will say though, the grassy terrain with defensive like Wish Tech mons in particular goes both ways. Like
yeah,
you're healing your Wish Tector
you
by
need to be able to break
75
the mons that
over
you're
2 turns.
letting recover.
But yeah, exactly. You're giving them 2 turns of recovery too
Yeah,
in like most situations. So which is something that I always mention on grassy teams is how good is your offense?
yeah,
Can you make use of the passive healing with bulky attackers better than they can?
right.
I'm not super convinced that this one does.
I
Um,
think it can.
I think in particular, Tusk on grassy terrain is pretty strong. It's one of the couple, there's not very many top tier ground types that can get away with being in the grassy terrain. It would be, I'd
Yeah,
say, Great Tusk and both of the Ursalunas, probably, just because they don't have to rely on Earthquake, right? They all have
right.
like either Earth Power for Blood Moon or just Headlong Rush for the other two. And then after that, it goes
Or
down to
high
like the
horsepower,
Nidos
but it's fine.
or High Horsepower, yeah.
I think a
Um,
lot more mons have high horsepower
but
now, but it's more of a question of like if you don't have it, like Garchomp or Lando. I think
yeah,
most
Garchomp
of
and Lando
the
in
other ones
particular,
have
right?
it though.
Yeah. I mean, let me take a look at the tier list here to see what other ground types are up there.
Because like Treads
Um,
has high horsepower, Tusk has
yeah,
it.
actually, I forgot about Treads. Yeah, Treads is a good one to use
Yeah.
it as well. It doesn't like want to click high
Right,
horsepower
you'd
over Earthquake.
rather
Yeah,
be able to use Earthquake, but I will say I've
yeah,
run Treads and Rilla on the same team, and it's like at worst it's like well that's kind of unfortunate, but it's still better than many of the other options. Oh, and Excadrill as
yeah,
well. He also has high
yeah.
horsepower,
Drill has high horsepower.
but it's the same
Tinglu
kind
does
of tax.
not.
It's just like 5 base
Yeah,
power or whatever. Yeah,
Tinglu doesn't,
Tinglu's
but
another one that suffers.
Tinglu is such a weird mon in the sense that like it's one of the defensive Pokemon that I'm talking about that like kind of sometimes can let the opponent heal up in front of it,
Yeah,
especially when the grassy terrain is making your Earthquake even weaker. Um, but the fact that like Ruination and Whirlwind just kind of puts a stop to it and they can't control necessarily what's healing or how much healing they're
yeah,
getting. Um, plus the fact that passive recovery on Tinglu is just so strong because its
yeah,
effective HP is so high.
yeah.
It's really a pain, honestly, for
That's
Tinglu.
definitely one
But
where you would need the rest of the team to make sure that it can make
exactly,
up for
yeah,
what
yeah.
it's
As
letting
opposed to
happen.
Tusk and Ursa being able to pull away
Yeah.
themselves.
But even
Now
Screamtail, not a
Weavile's
ground
no
type,
slouch,
obviously.
right?
It's the same kind of thing where it's like it's never gonna be the one that's breaking through the mon that's also healing up in front of it. So you need to make sure that the rest of your team can, even though Screamtail's one of the greatest beneficiaries of it. It's still like not the mon that's gonna be able to punish it, just like Tinglu.
Yeah, for sure. And I want to clarify a little bit. I said that I don't think that they can make use of the grassy terrain better than the opponents because they don't have like the breakers. It's actually not the breakers that are the problem. I think the offense on this team is like top notch.
Yeah.
There's barely any Pokemon on this list that like I wouldn't consider a strong attacker. Um, but
Wobbuffet
it's the fact
doesn't
that
have a
like
single
true
attacking
Wobbuffet.
move.
It's the fact that like Zardwide doesn't use the terrain at all. I guess unless it roosts, but that I'm not going to count that. And then like Weavile and Gengar are so frail that they're gonna die in one shot if they don't kill what's in front of them anyways, most of the time.
Yeah,
Like
like
the
Gengar
the
doesn't
healing
even
on
really
them
benefit from
really doesn't
Earthquake being
matter.
cut in half. Like it just still
Yeah,
dies.
yeah. If anything, like um maybe it just helps Weavile out against like rocks and like Rocky Helmet chip or something.
Yeah,
If it's clicking triple axle and it's like choice band or something, having the leftover basically leftovers recovery from the terrain
yeah.
lets it not instantly get one shot by the item in the hazards, but yeah.
It also means you can like kind of run like it's not any guarantee, but like a focus sash set or something on Weavile where it's like if you take a tiny amount of chip, it's not just like, well, my focus sash won't work anymore. Granted, you have Vaporeon as like backup for that, like if you're gonna wish pass to it to top it off.
Mm.
But there could be cases where it's like you took a tiny bit of chip from something and then 2 turns that you came in and you know they swapped out on you and you didn't take any more chip. Like maybe you get back up to full from that, like on your setup turn that you went for. Um,
True.
but I think overall it's like you have a couple mons that benefit directly from it, like these. Well, these I would say these two as defensive mons just benefit from it, and then Hawlucha obviously built-in synergy, and then Rillaboom himself benefits from it as well.
Yeah,
I
I
think it
agree.
ends up being not too much of a liability. Like it really depends on the team that you're against. If there happens to be somebody who does really benefit from it, but then you just kind of have to like just don't you just don't misplay into the mons that benefit from it. Like most of the time, I think you can play around it just by like positioning correctly and not being like, "Oops, I forgot that this mon gets an extra percent of health back, like on top of the lefties, and I messed up my calc because I was setting up a win con and this was guaranteed and now it's not." Right? Like that's the
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
mistake that you make against it, but or like when that's on your team, which I've done that before. Um, but it's definitely like you
I
can definitely play around. It's just an extra layer.
I want to say just a couple last things. Oh, actually, well, first of all, the rating that I gave it, I agree. I think this team is pretty strong. I have a couple thoughts about it. Sorry, I gave it an 8 out of 10. I like it a lot.
Mhm.
And I know that I get kind of stun locked sometimes talking about grassy terrain on teams and why it's good here and why it's not. But I mean, other than that, the I like a few things. Firstly, that Weavile and Gengar don't both have to come in order to have offense, and we see that a lot
Right.
with like frail attackers. That I think especially on if you remember how we were talking about Drix's team, where he had like the Greninja and the Infernape, and he wanted Zoroark, and there was like a bunch of frail attackers.
Yeah.
It's very hard to bring more than one of those to the same game, and if your team is over reliant on them, your team is gonna like be so frail that it can't keep up.
Yeah.
But this I don't think has that same problem because you don't have to bring both. I do think it's a shame that if you want to bring Weavile, you might be disincentivized to run Gengar if you don't have a strong backbone that you're bringing, just because it's like multiple frail, and that's your effectively your main Terra captain. Um, and I also think that even though I think that Bobo here has found good value in the low tier like role players with Vaporeon and Tinkaton, I think it can maybe even be hard to bring Halucha, right? Like if you
Yeah.
bring, let's say your ideal team is like Tusk, Zard, Rillaboom, one of Weavile, Gengar, and are you only bringing one of Vaporeon and Tinkaton in order to bring Halucha? Maybe
I think you
it's
can.
definitely matchup
Yeah.
dependent. Yeah.
I think I see what you're saying, but I also think that like 13 points on Halucha being a mon that's like clearly just here for like unburden sweeps
Hmm.
with Rillaboom. It's not that it's the only thing that it does, but you have another fighting type and another flying type. Like it doesn't have to do those things. It's really just like when it looks good and it's always
Yeah.
threatening in team builder. Um I think he's fine just being benched whenever it doesn't look good.
Yep.
And you can even have games where you bring both Weavile and Gengar, and then just one of Vaporeon or Tinkaton, depending on the matchup. But then you can also,
Yeah. Yeah.
drop Hawlucha, drop one of these two, and then bring both of these. Like I think it's pretty flexible. I actually don't think that this team suffers too much from the opportunity cost because the things that they're bringing are like pretty like not one dimensional, but like you do kind of like know what matchups they'll be good for, or like know which matchups
Yeah.
you can get away with what, or like where's wish passing going to be more useful than like status spreading and just kind of being annoying.
Mhm.
Where do we need like all out offense? Where do we need like flexibility? One thing I noticed though is that there are no mixed attackers on this team. I mean, maybe Charizard, but like not Charizard Y. I feel like you don't really treat
Yeah,
Charizard
I know
Y
what you
as a
mean.
mixed attacker. But it's like you have
Well,
physical, special, physical, physical, special, physical. I mean, but like setup, and
don't
then
sleep on
defensive.
Electros.
Electros, I guess, is, yeah, that's true. Terra Electros
Terra
is,
Electros, I think, can actually be pretty sweet.
yeah, because he has both. Um, but I was just thinking more of that fact where it's like if you look at like if the Electros isn't there, and you're looking at team ability, you do kind of just like you're never guessing like against the Greninja. Well, Greninja I feel like is usually special, but like Infernape, for example, like we talked about yesterday, 2 days
Yeah,
ago
yeah.
on that team, where it's like the thing that's nice about him, even though he doesn't have super high in either offensive stat, is like you still have to like scout before you know what tanks him or like what what you need to do against it. There's no mystery here. Like with what these mons are gonna be and it doesn't mean that they're bad. They're all very good mons, so I think that then it ends up being fine. But it's just something to note where in draft, like you do want maybe a little bit more mystery after the match starts than just the move sets themselves, because we have a preview. Um, but yeah, and I also noticed that Terra Gengar 14 points, 5 points. This, if the Terra Gengar doesn't work out, which it looks like it's working out mostly so far, you can, without changing anything else, just switch to Terra Rillaboom,
Yeah, that's true.
and it still fits within the points. And honestly, it might even be the kind of thing where it's like, because I know you've said that you personally like aren't super behind Terra Gengar. It's not that it's bad, but it's like it could be better. Maybe it's
Mhm.
an angle where it's like you get your use out of Terra Gengar for the first couple weeks, and then once people start to catch on, or once it kind of starts falling off, you just make the switch, and then you have Terra Rillaboom for the rest of the season into the playoffs, and it's like
Yeah, true.
still just as good of a Terra captain. Like people have done that before with trades, where it's just like, hey, I'm gonna see how long this gimmick works, and then once it stops working, make my trade, and then we have another
Yeah, just
solid
freshen
thing,
it up
Yeah. So
for
and
sure.
I like that this team has the flexibility to do that. And
Yeah.
also, is Hawlucha Terra banned? I don't think it is, right? You
Yeah,
can
it
Terra.
is.
Oh, it is Terra banned. Okay, maybe
Yeah.
that's why it's 13 points.
Yeah.
But
Okay, last thing
yeah,
I'll say, and this is, I'm not so sure why we see that. I know that Tusk is a great spinner, but I really can't get behind it always being the only removal on a team. Not counting Defog
yeah.
Hawlucha, that's not a real set.
Well, and Defog
Um,
Charizard, which isn't
and
really good.
Defog Zard Y, yeah, it's not very real. Tusk is the only removal that's worth mentioning here, and it's obviously
It is the
amazing at
exact
doing
same
that, but
issue
it
as
has
the
to do
other
that
Zard Y.
every single time.
Yeah,
And if you want to bring Zard at all, which I guess theoretically you don't even have to bring Zard in matchups where like
true.
hazard games are that bad, and you could just run Terra Gengar as your special breaker in that case. Um, but if you want to bring Zard, you have to have Spin Tusk, which isn't the end of the world a
Yeah,
lot of the time, but sometimes it likes to, have four moves. So,
right. I think
anyways,
yeah. This was on another one of the Zard Y Tusk teams
yeah,
where Tusk was the only spinner
yeah, we've
besides
seen that
Zard.
before.
But
Yeah,
I mean, again, technically Hawlucha is Defogger. I don't know why you. Well, I guess you do get your terrain
it
C
has a niche
before you defog
being
him, but
It has a niche
but
being a mold breaker defogger so that you can defog against Goldingo.
oh, true. But then also,
But
Tusk doesn't give a shit about Goldingo. He think Goldingo's not
well, it still
hard
spins
switching
block.
on.
It still spin blocks, and
I
then it kind of forces you to
mean,
be full,
yeah,
or it
but
can just
like,
be like
just
Shookaberry,
if
make
it's
it rain.
balloon, it's noticeable. I don't know. Like, I don't know if that's the worst. I don't know if this is the team that needed the hard Goldingo defog counter, if anything. But put it
Yeah,
that way. I see what you
yeah.
mean though.
Yeah. Anyways, I
Actually,
want to move
Goldingo
on.
looks like turbo ass into this team. You have Tarek,
It does
Gengar,
not
Weavile,
look great.
like Rillaboom with
Does not look
knock.
great.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
that was a good start.
Yep.
Let's move on to Bratosaurus,
Bratosaurus.
who I believe is
Brad
driving right now
is
and not listening to the stream.
yeah.
So we can just edit it in post.
We
You
can
can say
just
anything
move
you want.
on. Yeah, we'll just talk about this in post so that he doesn't get distracted. I mean, I would just feel so badly if anything happened to him while he was driving, and
Yeah,
listening to
it'd
us.
be our
Yeah.
fault.
No, so Bratosaurus is one of the new players from the PWC who came over. This is his first season here, so we're excited to have him. And I mean, how's he doing so far?
1 and 2 at
He's got to
+0 though.
win. Well, he's got his first win, so he's on the board. And I think something to note is I think he really likes this Pterodactyl stack
Yeah,
because
it's
he's
been
brought it
dominating.
every
Actually,
game,
he's
and he's
brought the
got six
same
KOs
6
with it.
mons. He's gotten the same 6 mons every game.
Oh wow, that's true. Well, one of them is always this Knackle stack.
Yep. Hey, as a Terra
And
captain, go for it. All right. Like
yeah, I mean, the
it's
fact that
not
it's got
really a low
six
tier.
KOs means to me that it was the reason why Brad won the second game there.
Oh, by the way, rating for this team is a 6.25 by the community with 9 sevens and then just like a bunch of 1s and 2s everywhere else. So like 1 2, 1 3, 1 4, 2 6s, 2 8s, and then 9 sevens. So people
Yeah, wow.
overwhelmingly think that this is a 7.
Yeah.
Even though the average is a 6.25.
I don't think that's too far off. I don't think I'm the biggest fan here. I think there's a lot of like nice balance pieces here with from Pecharunt, Hydreigon, honestly even being like a bulky roosty pivot.
Is Hydreigon Terraband?
So it is Terraband, yeah.
Okay.
Pharaoh, Hippo, Rotom Heat. I think that's like a really solid defensive backbone to try and break. Um, it it seems like Brad doesn't like using the Terra Rotom Heat and
Or the Hydreigon
needs to bring.
in general.
He's been
Or the
bringing
Hippowdon.
Claydol every time instead. Oh yeah, there's a Claydol and a Hippowdon. I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
So it looks like he's bringing Claydol, and the only removal on the team that he's brought 3 times so far is just Claydol. So I am a little bit curious. Maybe I mean I haven't seen the matchup, but I'm a little bit curious why. I mean, Rotom hasn't been coming to any game
Maybe
other
because
than
he
just
wants
making
to
room for
tear the
Knackle Stack.
Knackle Stack. Yeah.
Yeah,
But then
but you
just
could
bring the
like
Rotom and just keep it as a regular Rotom and never tear it.
yeah,
Your opponent doesn't
yeah,
have to know that you don't plan on tearing it.
yeah, exactly. Um, I don't think we've ever seen a Terra Rotom Heat. What do you think about it?
I mean, Rotom with Terra is usually at least decent. Rotom Heat, though, I feel like as a Mon, it's because its typing is as unique as it is, like being the only of its kind. Um, I feel like Rotom is a Mon, like Rotom Heat specifically is a Mon that you draft for its type. Like you draft it to be
Mm-hmm.
a good fire resist. You draft it to be a flying resist. You draft it to be a ground immunity. Like all these, like where
Yeah,
things
like
that you usually
fairy
don't get
steel
out of a
resist. Yeah,
right, something that you normally don't get out of a fire type because they're usually weak to ground. So having like a levitate Firemon to just kind of answer all those problems. Of course, with the reason being worse than well, one of the reasons worse than Wash being like the rocks weakness, which is unfortunate. I don't know what Terra really does for it. That Terra doesn't do on like other Rotoms. It's just like you get an extra coverage move, I guess, but I feel like you're not usually playing it offensively. You don't usually get to spare the item slot for something other than boots on Heat, which I think that might be the main limiting factor compared to some of the others. But then again, Rotom Fan is also weak to rocks, and he's a good Terra captain. I don't know though. I mean, I guess it just kind of depends on the rest of the team, which he does seem kind of like important
yeah.
as a fire type here. Also, Manectric is on this team. This is less about Rotom Heat, more about Manectric. Manectric is a special typing or special attacking electric type with like 1 coverage move, and it's Overheat. That's what this one
True.
does. down.
Yeah,
That's
true.
like
I
why do we
am
have a
curious why
Manectric here?
Manectric is here.
Unless it's just the fact that it's one of two Mons that's over 100 base speed, and the other one
Yeah,
is
that's
Val.
that's one of my big problems with the team. So I'll just get the cat out of the bag. I gave the team a 6.
Whoa, careful, you're
Be
allergic.
I am very allergic
Don't
to cats.
hold
That's
your
why I'm
breath.
letting it out. I'm in the bag, and I need it to get away from me.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, the Dander's already in there. You might be screwed.
I know. I'm screwed. Um, but yeah, so that's one of my main issues with the team here, and I think I might have even rated it a little bit generously. Um,
Which is
but I
okay for
just look
Truant.
at the yeah, I look at the defensive and like the flexible backbone of the team, and everything from Petulant to Rotom to me feels like it's bringable every game and fills a lot of holes and checks a lot of boxes and does a lot of really good things that would like be supported well, or that would be able to support like a good offensive, like high tier offensive core, or a Terra stack, I guess, right? Like I think it has all the tools you might need with the pivots and the hazard control and the like everything, right? Um, and even without a Sand Abuser, I think Hippowdon is perfectly fine.
Oh yeah,
Valiant, I think, is a really great start here. Dracovish feels like the odd man out here. You've already
a
got a
little bit,
dragon,
yeah.
and you don't have
Well, the
another
dragon
like
doesn't come to
actual
games,
water
so it's
type.
fine.
Yeah, true. But you don't have another actual water type. I'm not counting Dupiter here. Um, so Dracovish, I feel like those Dracovish points could be put towards something to help Valiant not have to be the only thing above 100 speed. I mean,
Yeah.
all of the 115s can run like adamant against you with Hydreigon being your next fastest. Like even if the next fastest was 100, I would still say you probably want something else.
Well, how do you feel about
Um,
like since the Dracovish is actually like coming to games? What about just swapping the Hydreigon out? Because clearly he doesn't seem to want to bring it.
yeah, I mean you could do that too, and either way the points could go to something that would help you out. I mean, I
Yeah,
actually like the idea that Hydreigon is like um a breaker that can pivot and do utility things
yeah,
and be bulky and be setup. I don't know exactly what's up that would fill that from Hydreigon,
right.
but I
But
think
again, it's
Vish
more
is
of a
just
question of like
the
if he's
most
not going to bring it
obvious,
anyway,
like
then you might as well
yeah.
swap it. I
And
think there's so much overlap down here.
Like we mentioned about Valiant before, it likes not having to be the fastest thing on the
Yeah,
team so that it can stay in the back
and
and
hold
keep its
that booster.
booster, like not have to proc it early. So that I mean, for example, if Hydreigon was like a Roaring Moon, for example, that's like basically I mean, it's the same like type as Hydreigon and can do a lot of the same things. If that's a Roaring Moon there, I feel like this team looks so much better. Like
Yeah,
drop
I'm
Dracovish and Hydreigon
sure
for a
he was
Roaring
drafted
Moon,
though, right?
whatever else you want,
He was okay.
probably a water type. And this team looks like one of the better teams, like at least of the division.
Yeah, I mean, I think it still looks like pretty solid. Like it's just the top of the team looks solid. I agree that like the direction with the Dracovish doesn't really make a lot of sense because like normally like even though it's not necessarily a rain mon, like having rain to just kind of make the Fish's Rend completely unwallable. Like you know you can run basically scarf banded Vish in rain, and like if you just
Yeah.
run scarf, but it's also like a hard enough hitter that I think especially in Truant like people will just get destroyed by it. So I don't think that's necessarily bad. And I don't think you're saying that's bad either. Just to be clear, like
Yeah, exactly.
it's
Yeah.
like
It
it's just
it
it
just
could be bad.
feels like a slight inaccuracy.
Yeah. Um, I think it's more the issue down towards the bottom, and Corey said this was right at the start of when we started talking about this team. He's got too many mons. He has hit like the cap of mons, and yeah, it's a lot of like it's like drafting mons for the sake of drafting mons, right? Like we already talked about
Hmm.
Manectric kind of being like the same thing as Rotom except worse. Um, not exactly the same, but you know, like it's an electric community, I guess. But these two, this is 4 points. That's probably never coming to a game. The Claydol again, like it's being brought as hazard control, but it's like you do have the Terra Rotom that could just be hazard control.
Yeah. Yeah, the
Then
Rotom
again,
or
I
the
can see why you
Hydreigon if
don't
you need
necessarily
it.
want to rely too much on defog when you have the Ferrothorn. If you're setting up
For
Spice
sure,
and,
yeah.
and
Yeah, that
Pithora.
makes sense.
Yeah, Claydol, of course, says Claydol Manectric and Dewpider would be one decent mon. I agree with that.
Yeah,
Or
one 8
if you
pointer.
wanted to keep the Claydol and again swap out like one of these higher tier ones, like you could add 4 points on the Hydreigon. Now I don't know what's on the board for 19 points or even 18 points, but like even just Manectric and Hydreigon could be a high tier that you actually want to bring to a game, right? That you'd
Yeah.
actually bring. It's hard to say what moves this team should make because I mean, not only has it brought the same 6 months every game, I don't know if that's like a preference thing or a matchup thing or an inexperience thing, like over reliance on like the low tier spinner, which they're gonna get a lot more leverage out of a Claydol in Truant than you are at higher tiers where people know how to abuse it. Because there are a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
mons that are in the lower point tiers that in inexperienced leagues, and not just Truant, but even just in other leagues where people aren't super used to NatDex or aren't used to whatever the dex is, there are mons that it's like the first season that it comes out, because nobody's really seen it before, they're like, wow, why is this mon so cheap? We gotta make it super expensive. But then you realize it's like there's very clear weaknesses. They just might not be super obvious until like after it's happened to you. And Truant is where those mons kind of work because a lot of
Yeah.
people, it hasn't happened to them yet. And I think it
Yeah. And it might
was it the
happen this
AAA
season. Who
one?
knows?
Yeah. And that's why I don't think that the Claydol has to go. I think 4
Mm.
points is low for Truant for a mon like Claydol. Like I think this is a mon that will get a lot done. I forget if it was it might have been the AAA draft, which is maybe a bad example, because I don't remember what ability I gave it. But just the mon itself, like the typing is solid, and it's a ground immunity. It has really good stats. Like if you don't prepare for this mon, forget the ability, I guess. No, it couldn't have been the AA because I definitely had levitate on it. Either way, I remember being
Maybe it was the
surprised
Letty.
by maybe, but I don't know if I even played in that.
Hmm.
The point is that it's a decent mon until like you actually know what to do against it. And it's a trap that a lot of like low tier defensive mons come into, which is kind of like, is there somebody better who does it? And usually the answer is yes. And then it's like you kind of have to budget around that. But
I
then
don't
they're
know
all
if
weak
it's
to like
ever really a problem. Like what I don't what does Claydol do that like is a problem for teams?
it's just fat and it's a spinner and it's a ground immunity. And again, I'm not saying that it's like this would be a great mon in other tiers. I'm saying that this is something in Truant where like if somebody like didn't prep for it because they're not looking that far down the list, really. I mean, at this point, if you're not prepping for it, then that's kind of on you. but, but
Yeah.
uh, but like it's the kind of mon where it's like it's not an immediately obvious like, oh, well, I can't one shot this, and it
I mean,
might
you're
just
right, but
consume me.
people are
But
already prepping for Hippowdon. I feel like
Hippowdon's
Claydol
not
just does
immune to
everything
ground.
Hippowdon does like worse other than
Yeah.
having spin and being immune to ground.
Well,
And
that's
then
just it.
it,
It's
it
like
eats up
defensively,
ground moves all the time.
it's not even any
I
better.
don't think there's
It's a
ever a
psychic resist
reason.
though. I mean, it's a fighting resist and a psychic resist, which might be a
Yeah,
big
but
deal.
like I don't think there's ever really that much of a reason to run like for example Claydol Knuckle Stack over Hippowdon Rotom every game
Right.
other than just to run Knuckle Stack.
Yeah, and I'm not even disagreeing with that either. But again, it's hard to say if this is a preference thing or if it's like a like we're thinking that this is the best option like to bring to every game. The other thing I
Yeah.
wanted to point out on this team, though, just like moving on from that, is look at the defense stat. Like
Yeah.
this is a very fat team. And
Maybe
actually,
the Petrun
ironically,
and Pharaoh and Hippo was
yeah.
a little overkill on
Well,
the
even
defense.
and Rotom and Claydol and Knucklesack, they're all. I mean,
Yeah.
Claydol is more especially defensive, but like Rotom is also equally especially defensive as it is physically defensive. But I feel like Rotom Heat is, I guess he's absorbing usually more special attacks because it'll be like opposing fire types and fairy types and stuff. But like he also has to sometimes tank like the physical steel types, um, or he'll be like wisping things and like hoping that it can still sit in front of that thing. Either way, that is something else that I noticed. And honestly, like the things that we're saying to even swap out, like don't even change that. Like getting rid of Hydreigon, congratulations, that's one of your lowest defense mons at 90. And Claydol is the highest special defense stat on the team, and then the next highest is Ferrothorn, which probably shouldn't be your special tank, for a number of reasons. But
So I just checked. Brachiosaurus does not have the #1 defense in the division. He's second place, and he's
I
leading
mean, does
by
somebody have like
about
Stack
5
Attacka
points.
and like nothing really low?
The person who's above them, I'll tell you when we get there.
Okay.
But they do have something that has like a weirdly high defense stat for what it does.
Okay.
But we'll
So probably like a
get there
paradox
when we
one.
do.
That's just like
Anyways,
because you
yeah,
also look at
definitely.
like we got
I
some things
think,
dragging this down. Again, these like
yeah,
random low tiers just
yeah.
thrown on
There's
the
a
team.
Dupiter and a Manectric
Yeah.
that don't need to be there. Okay, I do want to move on. Overall, I think the rating is pretty accurate. Maybe even I said that the 6 was maybe too high. I feel like it's
Well,
actually
you
pretty
said
fair.
7.
It
You said 7.
did I?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
so the 6 is fair then. So,
Yeah,
so
okay.
maybe
Yeah.
7 is
So
too
that's
high.
pretty fair. Yep.
Yeah. I would agree.
Okay.
Like I think you do want to put a little bit of like the truant benefit of the doubt
The
a little bit on
anti-tax.
there. Yeah. Whereas like I think this is a 7 for a truant team. I think it's
Yeah, that's fair.
fine
Yeah,
by
for
that
sure.
measure. But again, hard to gauge without knowing what the decision making into like which 6 mons are coming is, and if we're really trying to rate it objectively, like what we should swap, or if it's just a preference thing. So,
Yeah.
but that's enough on that, Brad. I hope you had a safe drive.
Yeah. Okay, we're moving on to Sao, my boy Kyle Sao.
Oh, he's in the chat.
SAO.
I was wondering who that was.
Yeah, that's SAO. So, this is Kyle's first or Sao's first season with us as well, coming over from the NHL. We talked about him a little bit in our kind of intros when we were introducing everybody who made each division right at the very beginning. And yeah, he's coming over from the NHL. I don't remember exactly who he knew beforehand, but yeah, NHL debut here in Truant. I've had a lot of good trades with him over in that other league. It's been a good time getting to know him, and
Paid
so
off.
we got him over
Chill.
here now. Yep, chill guy.
No, I said
That's what we
chill
like to see.
because you're
Did you
paid
say
off.
shill? I'm a paid
Yeah.
off shill. I
Yeah.
thought you meant like it paid off joining the NHL because we found a
Yeah.
chill guy.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
exactly what I said.
Yeah, and so now we see him here. He's 2-0 in the Truant division. I know he's been having a tough time over in the NHL. I think Gen 5 wasn't very kind to him.
Ooh.
But hey,
It's
I
a
mean
bad trait
you've got the
Nahyma.
NBA to look forward to. Yeah, I think Gen 6 will be
Got
starting
fleeced.
by the time Gen 6 will be starting by the time the NBA is probably going into playoffs, I would want to imagine. So
Is when the next season is?
when the next generation would start, yeah.
What is it?
When it'll be Gen 6.
Gen 6. Oh, it's only in Gen
Yeah.
5 right now.
Yep.
Dan, did your
Yeah.
Ambipom pay off? Didn't you invest in Apom?
Yes, I evolved it and traded it for Raikou.
Well, I guess that's part of the investment, right?
Yeah.
So
Oh, Kyle, you can make playoffs with a 6-0 today. Sweet, good luck. My
Yeah.
My teammate's playing in about an hour as well, so I'm excited to don't spoil the result, please. I want to
Wait.
watch it.
Do people get eliminated if they don't like what's the playoffs between the seasons are just like overall points, right? It's still the same teams every season, or do some of them get relegated to like a minor?
Yeah, there's no relegation. It's
Okay.
just it's you get draft order based on like a lottery that's based on your position in the last season.
Oh, okay. So he's just
based on
for
your
draft
placement.
picks.
Yeah, and based on your placement, each season you get a certain amount of like victory points that go towards your like overall score.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Anyways, that's enough about that. Really fun league, but we've got Sao's team to look at.
I like this team already. I see a lot of ones that I like. But
there's a
maybe we
monkey.
won't say they're
There's
very-
a fable for you.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. I've run those too.
There are a bunch of mons that I like and a bunch of mons that you like. I am also a Clef enjoyer. I like Stila. I like Fire Pawn. I like Drapion. I
Yeah,
like
I've
Rotom
never used
Wash.
Stila.
We have 2 in a row. Another Terra Rotom.
Yep.
I
Wait,
don't
Rotom Wash
think
is
we've
only,
ever
hold on.
seen even one Terra Rotom, let alone
Is
2
Rotom
back to
Wash really
back.
only 1 point more than Rotom Heat?
Yeah, I don't think it's that much better, is it? I mean, it's good and it's a little bit
I
less
just think
item
it has
locked.
like the item, yeah, the item flexibility, and also like a slightly better typing, seeing that's only has 1 weakness and it's a 2 times weakness
Yeah,
to a not
I mean,
always
it's
offensive type.
different for sure. Like it's not a Bolt Beam resist, for example, but yeah, it's different.
It is a Bolt Beam resist.
Oh yeah, so it resists
Oh wait,
electric
it
and
doesn't
ice.
resist electric. Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds like wait, but it's electric type. It's yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
Explain this to me. Let's walk.
I was
Let's walk
focused
through
more
it.
on the beam part. I was like, yeah, it still
Yeah.
resists ice. You're thinking of
Yeah.
Rotom
It clicks
Mo,
Thunderbolt
idiot.
and
Yeah,
resists Ice
yeah.
Beam. Yeah.
It doesn't click
Um.
Thunderbolt. I don't think it has. Or no, I guess it does. It doesn't have a regular water move besides Hydro Pump.
Yeah.
This is usually clicking Volt Switch. The rating for this team though is a 6.06. Now that is with a 1.
Yes, it's pretty low, and I'm not gonna lie, I unfortunately kind of agree here. I don't think this team checks a lot of boxes that I personally value. However, Sao is already 2-0.
Yeah. I'm
Um,
surprised
so
that it's
something is working.
rated that low though. I feel like this just has a lot of heavy hitters. This is I think this is a good Truant sweeping team. Like you have Dragonite that like
You're
who
right.
just obliterates. You have Clefable
Yeah,
who can sweep. You have Annihilate who can sweep. You have Bursa who blows things open. You have Celesteela who
yeah,
can sweep. Like all these mons I feel like are threats to teams that have never seen
yeah, you're
any
right.
individual one of these mons. They could just lose
From a
to it.
rating perspective, though, it's really hard to give it credit, assuming that it's gonna like that people aren't gonna prep well for it.
Yeah.
So I I rate it pretty lowly. I actually gave it a 5. I rated it lower than
Wow.
the community rating. For a
Let me
number of
guess.
reasons.
Annihilate's the only rocker.
Well, Annihilate and Clef.
Oh, true. Yeah.
There there are hazards, right? Because Pawn and Drapion can set spikes and T spikes respectively. But yeah, Annihilate is like not really clicking rocks. You're kind of
No.
shoehorning,
You don't want
pigeonholing,
Clef to have to
shoehorning
do it.
Clef into rocks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because neither your ground nor your steel will rock for you.
Right.
Um,
I mean,
your
Drapion has spikes, T spikes, right?
your removal is almost always your Terra Captain, which feels pretty bad. And you have a Dragonite and a Fire Pond that both want those hazards gone. I mean, D-Knight will be boots most of the time
Boots,
anyways,
yeah.
but Fire Pond being
It can also run
rocks
Defog
weak,
if it's a more defensive
it
set.
can. It can.
You have a
But
lot of
Fire
setup
Pond being
options
a
that he
rocks
doesn't have to be the
weak
setup sweeper.
pivot Mon that can't run boots is really tough for it.
Yeah.
I feel like Rotom is not a great Terra captain. Like both this one and Heat that we just
I
looked at
agree.
are not
Yeah.
really great captains,
You
just
draft them
because
for their type.
it doesn't it doesn't really change what they do.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time they're trying to be role players, but their defenses aren't really like high enough to be able to blanket check things based on
Right.
getting a new type and
Getting
getting a new
specifically a
offensive
mono
type.
type.
Yeah, and getting a new offensive type doesn't usually do too much. Like it's nice when you get, the standard, oh, it's a steel or a poison type with levitate or
Yeah.
whatever. That's awesome.
It just is really
But
Rotom.
I do think it's a bit of a missed opportunity, especially when you're it's not even like you wanted to like Terra Clefable, for example, but you had to have like another low tier with it. I don't know, because you're also tearing Regice here. And honestly, Terra Regice is okay. Um, but
I almost
if there
think
was
that
like a
that
6 point
Drapion
captain
and
that you
Regice would be
specifically wanted to
better
use,
than Rotom.
that Drapion Regice would be better.
Yeah, maybe that
That'd be
like more
funny.
like not maybe not better on paper, but like more useful overall, like than
Yeah.
Rotom being the Terra Captain. But
It's definitely, I think, just suffering from the fact that like the top 3 Pokemon here, Ursa, Annihilate, and Stila are all Terra banned. And if it
yeah,
was like, I mean,
and
I
your
can't
next
think of one
highest
off the top
is
of
a
my head that
defensive
would
mon
be
that
like
doesn't
a
relate
good
it.
Terra Captain, but yeah, the next one best one is Clef and Rotom, and then your Pawn and your Dragonite are both also Terra banned.
Yeah,
So you don't have many options. I think that's very restricting
I
here.
actually think that if you were gonna commit to like one of these two random defensive mons here being Terra, I think Clefable actually is more flexible as a Terra Captain than Rotom Wash.
Hmm.
because it just already has the coverage. Like it already has, like it doesn't have to Terra. Like you, and it
It
can
does,
still like
but
run
it's
the same
also
moveset.
like, but it's also just very good at being a fairy. You
Yeah, but they
know,
just
does
don't Terra.
Clef really
Like I
want to
feel like
change its type?
no, but I also don't think that Rotom does either. And I think that there are more cases. I'm not saying that that Clef is a good Terra captain. I think between these two, there are more cases where, like, if anything, you could choose something with Clefable. Even if it's like you stay fairy for Terry. You stay fairy for 99% of the game, and then you like set up, and then it's like, well, now I'm gonna go Terra Fire just to make my flamethrower also have stab because you already can't kill me because I have 3 Calm Minds, and it doesn't matter what type I am. Or you just go Terra Fairy, and it's like, hey, it's like nothing changed except your stab is like your Moonblast is stronger. It's like you
Yeah,
didn't
that's
bring a
true.
Terra Captain, but you didn't lose a secondary defensive type. Like you are the same exact mon. Your Moonblast is slightly stronger. That's the only difference. I still think that would be better than Rotom being a Terra Captain.
Yeah, I think either way it's still just kind of mid.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's like, and
but
on a
like
team where your other
to
captain is 3 points, like who cares that it's 16 points being held up, being held hostage by a mon that's just going to go Terra Fairy? Like it genuinely
yeah,
doesn't
that's
make a
true.
difference with this team. Like I
Yeah,
actually think that the only thing is you're losing is a trade. But
yeah. I also think it's a worry that your ice resist for Dragonite is your Terra Captain. Like your
both of them,
Dragonite and your Ursa, there's a Regice, but the
yeah,
Dragonite, Ursa,
which is
even your
also a Terra
Steel type
Captain.
doesn't resist ice. Yeah, and then Rotom's also just your captain. So are you what,
Yeah.
Terra Water? I don't know. It just feels like on like a type chart, it doesn't look great on a hazards perspective. It doesn't look great. It's definitely passable on hazard.
What's funny is I think it
Um,
looks better if
doesn't look
this
great.
were a Terra banned league. Like this is I think the type
Yeah, yeah,
chart's
I
fine
actually agree.
if Terra was banned in this league.
Yeah, but I think something could change. Maybe even something between Dragonite and Ogerpon could change just to round out the
Yeah.
team a little bit and just give it a better Terra Captain, I think would be really helpful.
Actually, yeah,
Give them an
Ogerpon.
idea to make Clef stronger offensively. Yeah, I mean, it would be fine, especially if you don't really plan on Terraing Rotom.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all I was saying with Clef too. Where it's like if like Rotom already is probably just better off not clicking Terra most of the time. Clef is one where
Yeah,
it's
I
like
think
you
you can just
still
find
probably don't
another
need to, but
dragon.
like hey, it has more use with like a Life Orb Magic Art set. Like if you really wanted to just have the extra coverage and you're already set up.
Yeah,
But
the real answer is
yeah,
just swap Dragonite for something else that can Terra offensively if you want to be an offensive team.
well, what I was actually going to say is keep Dragonite just because I think Dragonite is 10 times stronger and Truant than it is even without Terra. Like it's this is a mon that you will lose to if you have not lost to Dragonite 4 times in 4 different ways. But I'm actually starting to think that maybe the Ogre Pond changes. And the reason is because this looks like a type chart pick. And I don't
Mm,
think Fire Grass is ever a good type chart pick for either of those types that you need.
hmm
It's like we've said it many times in the past. It is a grass type that doesn't resist fire. It's a fire type that doesn't. Well, it's a grass type that doesn't resist water. It's a grass type that doesn't resist ground. It's a fire type that doesn't resist water. It's a fire type that doesn't resist ice. It's like none of the things that you want these two types for except offensively. And even then, it's a physical
Yeah.
grass type that still gets like kind of beat by a lot of things. Like
Yeah, so we'll just run
it's a good
fastest mon
mon.
Drapion. How's that sound?
No, you could swap this for another fast mon that benefits from Terra though,
Well, at
because
that point,
this is still an item
if
locked
you're just
speed
running
cap,
a fast mon,
but also
at that point, the type doesn't really matter. It's just offensive.
right. I'm saying that I think that the reason it was picked was because of the type, and that isn't
Maybe.
really good for this team. But you pointing out the type, I didn't even really look at the speed like that. This is not a very
Yeah, the speed, that's what I
it's,
was gonna
it's
get
like
at as
really
my
weird
last point here
speed.
is the speed is just really bad. I've
Yeah.
mentioned it before, but when your fastest Pokemon is 110 and it can't run an item, so you can't even give it a
Yeah.
choice scarf,
Item locked 110.
or anything to like help you out in other fast matchups, yeah, it's pretty tough. I think Pawn is fine if you have something that's around the 120 threshold, like
Yeah.
anywhere from 115, ideally slightly higher, to like 125 or 130. really lightens the burden from pawn. But here you're basically looking at Scarf Annihilate has got to be your plan, or like just E-Speed Dragonite, DD Dragonite.
Yeah.
Otherwise, your speed is pretty bad here.
Yeah. And that's the other thing with like just we could probably make this something different. Again, it doesn't necessarily fix the speed problem if it's just another fast mon, but maybe not an item locked one. But I also think that since it's one of your Rock's weak mons that can't run boots, it's a way to shore up the hazard issue, like the removal issue, without necessarily having to like find a budget spinner or defogger that like otherwise doesn't fit super well on the team. It's not a super elegant solution, but it's one of those things where it's like, it's again, it's truant, and even more so than other quote it's truant moments. Like generally, rocks and hazards in general aren't valued as much in lower levels, where it's just like whether that's like you opt not to bring them or don't click them enough or don't click them at the right time. I think you can get away with poor removal if you don't have like really bad rocks matchups like Zard Y or I'm on like Ogerpon. And I think that's where you can kind of get away a little more with, especially if Rotom's not a Terra Captain anymore either, and he can just defog as a normal defogger. Like I think you're fine with that.
I want to list off a couple Terra Captains here. Let me know if
are
you
you
think
looking at
any
what's
of them.
available?
Yeah, let me know if you think any of them make sense to you. Haxorus. Does that make
Are
any
you
sense
saying
to you? Does it?
instead of Dragonite then, like if Haxorus?
Yeah, Terra Haxorus.
Could be good. I mean, actually,
Do you
you
think
also
Terra
get
Rotom?
Moldbreaker.
Do you think Terra Rotom plus Dragonite is better than non-Terra Rotom plus Terra Haxorus?
Um, wait, Terra Rotom plus Dragonite versus non-Terra. So you're
The
keeping the
current
Rotom
versus
versus
Rotom plus
Dragon.
Terra Hax.
I think if we're looking at the duo, the Rotom plus Terra Hax is better. I think Dragonite individually is better than that combo, at least in Truant.
See, I just can't get behind your only ice resist being your only Terra Captain. Okay.
Yeah, but I think you can still move the Terra Captain.
It's okay. Another option.
What's Haxorus' speed? I forget.
97 or something
97.
like that. 90 something. Let me check.
So it'd still be
97.
You'd have Ogerpon at 110 and okay.
Yeah. Sorry, what else do we have? I did have a list open. Terra Buzzwole.
Oh, that's still open?
Yep, would probably be over Annihilate here.
True. I like the Annihilate though. I think Annihilate is good.
There's Terra Hisui and Arcanine.
That could be a good swap for the Ogerpon.
Mm-hmm. And then we'll run Fastest Mon Drapion.
Yeah. Or just swap Drapion.
Yeah,
I guess you're losing, but I mean, either way, you're looking at the Fastest Mon being down here.
Yeah.
Which 14
you might have to like switch
bad.
your Ogerpons around to. I mean, Rock is open, but then are you getting double Rock Pawn? Like Rock Pawn with Rock Arcanine? Seems weird.
So you probably have to like if you
trade
swap
Fire Pawn
Dragonite
anyways.
to Arcanine and then Fire Pawn to something else.
To Rock Pawn, yeah. Then you've got like double Rock anyways, and it doesn't change that you just dropped a Fire type. I don't know. There's options. There's Terra Terrakion.
I'm surprised
again,
that would still open actually.
Over Ape. Yeah, me too. Anyways, I don't know. There's options for you there. So peruse at your leisure.
He says that the ideas are flowing in his brain, so
mm-hmm.
we got something started.
Good.
All right.
Anyways, I think that's good for us to move on.
Yep, let's go to Handy.
Anything jump out at you?
It's a stun team. Very stun team.
Yes. There are a few dogs.
Yeah, but they're all just like Sun Team mons, to be fair. These
Yeah.
ones are. They're the paradox ones.
Hmm. Um, so we were just talking about the team that has
It's just triple
Dragonite
dragon.
having the Ice Resist Terra Rotom. Here we've got the Triple Dragon Lando team, the Ice Resistor Tentacruel. Oh, sorry, there's an Orthworm too.
Ninetales.
Okay, there's an Orthworm too. I forgot about
Orthworm.
Orthworm. Yeah. It's definitely an interesting choice.
Also, Floor
I
just can be a blanket ice beam resist.
For Spadef, yeah. I think it was probably something along the lines of like picking Gouging Fire first, picking Walking Wake second, and going, I'm gonna go Sun. Nobody picked Raging Bolt third or fourth. And he's like, I might as well just do the whole trio and get my Sunsetter later. I think that's exactly what happened. We saw, I think it was Martin, not Martin Radkow, the other Martin, who drafted Raikou, Suicune, and Entei for the meme back in like
Yeah,
season
that was like
2 or
I think it
something.
was season 1. I don't.
It was
I think
very
he only
early,
played in the first season.
maybe. Yeah, it was pretty early on. And this is definitely shades of that. Is it good? Like, probably
I think it's
not.
better than that. I think it's better than the 3 Johto
Yeah, I
ones. Like, because
agree.
like they actually like have a synergy being on a Sun team. It's
Yeah,
not great to have it layered
yeah.
with 3 dragons. I'm more
The
curious about the Lando, honestly. Like,
mhm.
it's your only flying type, your only ground type, but also like I think you can get away with not having an amazing ice resist when you have like these 3 dragons, especially when 2 of them are neutral.
Mhm.
But then adding the 4 times ice weakness is just like making you bad into it for kind of no reason. Right? Like, it went from
Yeah.
being like serviceable, like probably not favorable, but like whatever, into now you just don't have a good ice matchup.
Yeah,
Now it's
now
like
it's a
actually
problem,
bad.
and now
Yeah.
people are really bringing the ice moves, yeah.
Right.
I'd say the same kind of with Fairy, but I actually think that the Tentacruel, Orthworm are like pretty decent Fairy checks. It's
Yeah.
harder for a Tentacruel to check ice types, because it doesn't really like 1v1 a lot of them, and freeze dry still exists too.
Right. Well,
But
Frieza
fairies
with
most of
Tentacruel Spadef, I don't think is usually a
yeah,
huge issue.
yeah. Fairies mostly will be special, but a lot of ice types like Weavile kind of deal like can still hit you neutrally, but are at the very least hitting you physically. So it's still kind of just tough for Tentacruel.
Yeah, but
Overall,
also
it's
a lot of fairies from like pre Gen 8 have Toxic and NatDex, so like Floor just doesn't necessarily want to 1v1 most of them
yeah, yeah.
as like your blanket check either.
I
If you're
feel
just
like
like running
Tentacruel
Spadef.
is way overloaded here though,
Yeah.
defensively.
And it's your
Otherwise,
Terra
you're
Captain when its typing is kind of
yeah,
important.
it has way too much responsibility here. I don't think Handy like really cares that much. I mean, if you go into a season and you draft all 3 of the like Paradox dogs and a Sunsetter,
Paradogs.
you say, yeah, the Paradogs, you say, okay, let's go, my
Actually, it's a
dragon
trio of
friends,
dogs.
battle beside me, my trusted partners, like I think he's just having fun. So I don't want to
Yeah.
harp on him too badly for it. I think it's just a for fun kind of gimmick. There's also 2 evolutions, which is pretty funny. In his week 3 game, he brought Ninetales, 3 dogs, 2 Eevees.
I mean, Ninetales is also a dog. And so are the
Oh,
Eevees
is are
kind of nice. They're
dogs
more like
are
cats, but
foxes dogs?
they're canines.
Is that even true?
Uh, I think so.
If only there was a fox expert in our league.
Oh, true. Yeah. Yeah.
Tell us about that.
I'm pretty. They are. I think they're canines.
I don't know. I mean, they're like lupids or
Yeah, I
something,
think
aren't
they
they? Are
are
those
foxes.
considered like
Yeah. Well, yeah. Wolves
canines?
are
Okay.
canines. Yeah. Yes, foxes are considered canines according to Google.
Okay.
Yeah, it includes foxes, wolves, jackals. And I like second guessed it because they're like kind of like raccoons, which aren't canines. It's like, wait a minute, are they more like raccoons or are they more like dogs? So,
Yeah, raccoons are more like humans.
true. Yeah, we eat trash. Then we
Yeah.
also dig around in trash cans at night. At least I
Okay.
do.
Let me take a look here. I gave the team a 5,
Oh
just
wait, we didn't
rating
talk
it
about the
kind of
rating. I
fairly.
don't think
Yeah, I
because it
gave it a
looks very
5. The
similar to the previous one.
the community gave it a 6.56, so
Yeah, and that's
actually
with four
higher than
tens. That's with
Sal's.
4 tens, and I guarantee you
Oh,
those
that
tens are
is with
people
four
seeing the triple
tens.
dog. That's
Yeah,
a meme rating. I think at least some of those are.
that is a meme rating.
Otherwise, it looks pretty much identical to Sal's team, which like with like the one
I think
and then like
it,
mostly
other
fives and
than
sixes. Other.
if we just remove those four tens, I think the average drops to like 5 on the dot, maybe slightly higher than 5, like 5.4 or something.
Yeah. What also matters where those 4 votes would have actually gone if they were like 6 or 7 instead.
Yeah, if we
Fuck
just
me,
like
I
cut
didn't
them
mean to
out, I
say
mean,
that.
yeah.
That wasn't on purpose.
Sure. I mean, calling a spade obviously is a gimmick team.
Yeah.
I don't want to harp too much
I
on
actually
it.
okay. I do
There
like the
are,
Terra Leafeon. That's kind of interesting, but I wish that you would take advantage of the 4-point Terra Captain with a 16-point Terra Captain as your
yeah,
other
I mean,
option,
there's
and not the
13 points
Tentacruel.
of terrors being used here.
Yeah, I think this
And
would go
again,
great if you had like
it's definitely the kind
one base
of
legal
problem of like your top 3 mons can't Terra. Maybe you
4,
could have
right?
Terra'd Lando
I guess he's not
or
Terra
even
banned because
Terra
he's just sheer
Florges.
force
What?
banned.
Yeah, it's your force band. It can Terra. But even like a Florges Tentacruel maybe would have been better.
Actually, yeah, I actually like because you have another fairy as a backup. Like it's
Yeah,
like
and I was gonna
Grimmsnarl
talk about
isn't an
that.
ideal fairy, but you have Florges unless you were to Terra it, and then it just kind of takes some of the weight off Tentacruel.
Yeah.
Whereas Tentacruel doesn't take the weight off of anyone else by being a Terra Captain.
Yeah.
So I think that'd be a
Okay,
good change.
looking at everything else unbiased and empirically. The speed is
Oh,
kind of not great. It's much helped by the fact that like Gouge and Wake and like technically Bolt can all run booster speed. And Lando's pretty scarfable.
I don't think
Um,
Bolt would.
I've run booster speed in Sun before. It was actually booster speed Sunny Day Life Orb Weather Ball.
You have to
And
drop a lot of Spatak though,
I
right?
think you have to run like 0 special attack Jolly
Yeah.
in order to do it. But with a life orb in the sun with a speed boost, you Oko Iron Treads with no Spadef invest. uh, I
Wow.
ran it against Riceman one time, and it was such a unique thing. But he ended up being like, I don't think he was an Akaberry. I think he was like AV or so. I don't remember exactly. And he saw the tech. He's like, "Oh my god, dude, calm down. What the hell are you running?" But it's technically possible, but regardless,
Don't count it.
the fastest thing on the
Don't count it
team,
on this team. Don't
there's
count it as speed.
there's the boosters with Proto Synthesis, there's
And
Espeon, and there's the
Chlorophyll.
Terra Chlorophyll
Yeah.
Leafeon. Looking at it just
And
like
Prankster.
speed
Prankster
tier,
Grimmsnarl.
yeah, that's not really a speed tier though. Like
No, but it
it's
shores
mostly
up
just
some stuff.
Espeon being your 110 though is kind of tough. You're
Yeah.
mostly just gonna be speed booster Wake, I'd say, with Proto and Sun,
Yeah. But on a Sun team,
and just call it
we
there.
mentioned it on the last Sun team, I think, where it was like it doesn't have the same tax as like Val being your fastest, where it like needs to preserve booster because you don't need like you're not really worried about that when you have a Sun team. Like we can come in whenever and be your 109, even if Sun's not up.
Yeah, so
Sa
yeah, like I
Sal
mentioned
said
before,
that he
I
made his
really think
moves. Can we see what those
ooh,
are?
yes. Let me just wrap this one up.
After, yeah,
I really think Tentacruel is going to get overloaded here. Florges does help it out with Spadef. The best FizzDef answer you really have on the entire team though is Orthworm. And if you're trying to be funny and bring all 3 of your dogs and Ninetales every game, I think it'll be really good to do that. I mean,
yeah.
you do have a win, which is pretty good. And so I'm excited to see if you can get any more
Is
for
week
yourself.
2 a forfeit? Is that what's
Week
not
2
showing?
was a forfeit. Yeah, there was a show team issue.
Oh, okay.
So I think there might be a replay there technically.
It's not linked, but
No, okay, maybe not. I'm pretty sure it was a forfeit. It's considered like a loss. It's marked as a
yeah,
loss, and he's
yeah,
1
it's
and 2 right
loss.
now. So yeah.
And he had
Maybe
a
I can look for a
5. He
replay.
had a 5-0 and an 0-1, and his diff is +1. So like he definitely
Yeah,
had a
true.
-4 from that. Yeah, I actually think like I don't think it makes the team super good. I think switching Terra Captain from Tentacle to Florges, as the team currently is, I would call that as close to a no-brainer as you can get, as long as you don't need all 5 of your trades to do something else. So I think that is
True.
just a net upgrade, easily, not just the point difference, but just significantly better in what they're doing on this team.
Okay, so we can move on from Handy.
Yeah, let's go back
Before
to
we
Sao
go on
real
to the
quick.
next one, Sao's trades. He dropped Ogerpon Hearthflame and picked up Hisuian Electrode and Chinchino.
So it split into 2 mons.
So he split it into 2 mons.
What
He
points
kept
are
a
they
grass
each?
type with Hisuian Electrode. And kept a similar speed tier with Chinchino, but
Yeah.
Electrode picked up a higher speed tier.
Yeah, like a top speed
And
tier.
Chinchino's 115 that can item.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think it's fine. Like I probably would have preferred to see it put into like an individual mon instead of spreading the points thinner. But it does check a couple boxes where it's like you got another mon like around this speed tier that can hold him, not unbringable. And actually, I would think that you could just make that Chinchino your Terra Captain or the Electrode. Is
He
Electrode Terra
says in
bound?
chat 2 elite Terra captains, but he didn't specify in the trade that they're going to be captains.
Yeah, that would
So
have to be another trade.
Sal, if you could don't edit the post, just make another post saying that they're going to become your captains.
Are they both going to be
And that'll
captains? So
take
is
up.
Regice and Rotom being dropped for not dropped, but like the Terra being taken off of them, or is just Rotom being changed to one of them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I also thought that the Electro's not Terra banned.
Nope.
Hisuian? Okay. Because that's a good Terra captain. With the
Yeah, I
bulking,
think
fast bulking.
Hisuian Electrode is a good captain, by the way. And
Yeah.
honestly, Chinchino is pretty underrated. I think it
That's why I was
hits
kind of surprised.
harder than people expect.
Yeah, well, it has Technician, it has built-in coverage with like Rock Blast and Bullet Seed and stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a skill link if it's running a skill link for those. You just kind of buff
Yeah,
them
I
up.
mean the fact that loaded dice exists now usually means you can just run Life Orb
Yeah.
and just get higher damage on everything with Technician instead of running Skill Link.
Yeah.
But okay, we are moving on, and we're moving on to Roy Ace, who is the team that I was alluding to previously with the highest defense, the highest average defense
Okay.
across the board.
Oh, and it's a Kartana.
Yeah, so you were on the right track. It wasn't a
Not a
paradox. It
paradox.
was
An Ultra
it was an
Beast.
Ultra Beast. Yeah, very similar. But then like Fini, Heatran, Venusaur, even Conkeldurr and Kafagrigus have pretty good defense stats. And Raiku's not really a slouch. It's not known for its defense stat, and neither really is like
No,
Fini.
but it's a
But
legendary, so it's just not really going to have anything worse than like a
yeah.
60 even.
So they're definitely decent.
Yeah, there's nothing lower than a 71.
I think that's exactly what's pulling it up here and why it's
Yeah,
the highest is it
there's nothing
has
taxing
some
it.
mons that are just very good at it, and there's no random weight bringing it down.
Yeah, no random like 1 point first stage mon.
Yeah, no
It's just
Dupiter.
there.
Yeah. So the community rated the team a 7.44, which is I'd say right around the average, maybe a little bit higher than average, but it's definitely an average-ish team.
Yeah, I'd
I
say
think
average.
I think I agree. I would put it on the higher end, but I have a couple problems with it.
I have a few
And
problems.
one of them is one that we visited yesterday, or last stream rather.
I think it matters more on this team though.
I agree. So the issue in question here is Fini with the dragon type. It's also, I would say, an issue for Heatran and Venusaur
Wisp,
and
Toxic.
Conkeldurr. Conkeldurr can't even like
Get
reliably
guts.
run guts.
Yeah, like
I will say, as long as you get your like proc your guts first, the terrain doesn't bother you anymore. right?
Yeah.
But Venusaur likes
I
to
mean,
sludge bomb things.
I guess it doesn't
Heatran likes to
matter.
be Flame Body or even just Will-O-Wisp.
Yeah.
And Roaring Moon likes to use Dragon moves. So definitely a little bit of a mixed review, I'd say, for the team in that regard. Although
You
Roaring
could just
Moon
run
and
terrainless Feeny though, technically.
you could. Roaring Moon and Kartana both enjoy not having to run pads, though, into things like Zapdos, Moltres, like
Yeah,
other contact statusers.
it's true.
So that's kind of the silver lining, I'd say.
I would say Cortana more than Moon, because Moon just, I think Moon gets hurt so much by it that it's like the fact that you don't have to run pads like doesn't really make up for the fact that you can't hit a dragon
Yeah,
move. But like,
honestly, I don't think its dragon move slot is that important. It's definitely important. Um, but like Dragon Claw kind of sucks. Are you running Scale Shot? Potentially. But then if you're running Scale Shot, you're not running Booster Energy. So you're probably just running Outrage. Now, something funny about Outrage is that even though it's weaker against grounded things in terrain, it doesn't confuse you in terrain, which is nice.
oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, wait, but it would have to like last longer than the terrain though. I mean, shorter than the terrain expires, which might be kind
Yeah,
of hard
yeah,
if you get like
it
a
would, yeah.
turn outrage,
Yeah, it's
and it's like
it's
been
not
more than a turn
consistent.
since Finny came
And
out.
yeah, and you don't want to be clicking Outrage to have a
Yeah.
60 base power dragon
Right,
move
it's like
because of
not
the
worth
terrain.
the upside. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
so I can click my 60 base fire dragon move, and guess what? I'm not gonna get confused after I'm locked into it for 3 turns. What a move!
Hmm. I guess it might also get in the way of something like Toxic Spite's Coffagurgus, and honestly, I feel like Coffagurgus just likes being able to toxic things in general, and Crobat as well.
Crobat too, yeah.
So, so I would say if Feeny doesn't really get it, like I find myself saying this a lot. If Feeny was just Prim on this team,
Yeah,
amazing. Just because I think there's a lot of like kind of slight anti-synergies, more so than whose team was it? Metro's team
I think it was Metros, yeah.
with the Feeny Kirim.
And it had a
Um,
Valiant as
this
well. Or not Valiant,
this team
Mega Galley.
hates the terrain more than Metro's team did,
Yeah, because, well,
and
because
I had a
nobody really
problem with it
likes
there.
it. Nobody wants it
Yeah,
besides Finny. Like whereas at least on Metro's team, it's like
maybe just
the Mega
Kartana.
Gallade likes it. Okay, yeah, Cortana. Use it like the contact guys.
Yeah, and
But like I
can
don't
now
think.
switch into Scald or something.
Yeah, I just think it's like
You might still die to a
it's
Scald, honestly.
yeah, literally paper. Um, I think that's why I was saying that was where I unironically could see just like a non-terrain Feeny most of the time, and it's just like maybe a budget Prim in that sense, but it's like still you're getting the type that you wanted from it, and it's still a decent mon. Um, which is I guess technically true of Metros as well, but that was more of a debate of like if the downsides of terrain were significant enough. I think the downsides of the terrain on this team are like way more significant, and the upsides are
Like
worse.
emergency, this is a problem. Yeah.
Yeah, like this is like actively detrimental. It would be like doing Rillaboom on like a Lando Garchomp, all every mon that hates grassy terrain all on the same team with
Mammoth's
just
one. Oh no,
Rillaboom.
Mamo has high horsepower
And it
now.
has high horsepower, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And it gets
Noted horse.
terrain boosted Trailblaze, so it actually
True.
loves grassy terrain. Now,
Yeah,
like
definitely
it's like as
emergency mode on
anti
Feeny
synergy
there.
as you can get, pretty much with all of these
Yeah.
mons that want a status.
I other than that though, if I just take Feeny off and or even if we just pretend that it's telepathy Feeny all the time,
Yeah,
um, I think this team has a lot of really strong pieces.
that's
I
the thing.
mean,
I actually like it without terrain.
I
Like,
know. I think
yeah,
this team is great, and despite the fact that the Feeny, the terrain goes against the whole team, I still gave the team an 8.
yeah.
I think it's really strong. The the other negative I have is Heatran is your Terra captain and it's your only rocker, which I don't like. Often on
Does
Terra
Conk not
Heatran,
have
you want
rocks?
to. Does what not have?
I thought Conk had rocks. Maybe not.
No, Conk has Defog,
True.
which would be really funny, dude. Imagine you bring in Flame Orb Conk. on the Misty
defog
terrain and
the
you defog the
terrain.
rocks
Yeah,
and then you proc your burn. That would be so funny. Anyways,
true. That's
often
synergy. That's actually,
Terra
yeah.
Tran
Bring it
wants to
just to
run
do that.
like Terra Tran wants to run like maybe a Scarf Terra Fire with Eruption or like um well, actually, you know what? I'd say that's kind of the only Terra set that's really item locked. A lot of the time you might want to see like Terra Grass or Terra
Yeah, I
Bug.
feel like Heatran's most common terror types are usually Terra Grass or Bug, and you're just like a
Yeah, so it's actually
utility
not as
one.
big a problem as I thought. I do still think it's a shame that
You don't want it to
you're
have to bring it every
you're
time though.
really pigeonholing Heatran to like if you want to run rocks, you have to run it on
Yeah,
Heatran, your Terra Captain, and I think it just restricts its like it lowers its ceiling a little bit,
yeah, I agree.
or you're just not running rocks, which like
Which
you
lowers
can
the
get
whole
away with
team's
doing
ceiling.
that, but not an ideal thing.
Yeah,
Um, let's see. The your speed tiers are really great here, actually. They
yeah,
go all the way from, I'd say I would start, you have conks, so that things that are super slow, you can still outspeed, and sometimes like a 50 or a 60 or something will still have to creep a little against you. And it has Prio. And you have Trick Room with Kafagurgus. I believe it has Trick Room.
I think it does. Yeah,
Up then to Heatran in the 70s, Feeny in the 80s, Venusaur in the 80s. I guess there's a bit of a gap between
I mean Venusaur's also not
Feeny
running
and
speed.
Kartana.
Mega Venusaur.
Yeah, Venusaur's not running speed. But I guess between Feeny and Kartana, there's a bit of a speed gap. Maybe something in the 90s just to make it completely fleshed out, but I'm not going to nitpick because after that it's still really good. You still have
Yeah,
the over 100 Kartana, you have the 119 Roaring Moon, and you have the 130 Crobat that doesn't have to be super fast all the time, which was my problem with the previous Crobat team that we saw that was like all the
which
Gen
had
2
to be the speed
Pokemon.
cap.
Yeah, it was like the only I think it was that team at least.
Yeah,
It was pretty much the only speed above 100 or something like that,
yeah.
right? So it
Well, we were
was
seeing that it like
either
had to outspeed the like Kilowattrel and Valiant or something, and then
yeah,
also
that's right.
in the next team it was another one that was like it's the only thing that outspeeds.
Yeah. So yeah, it's never stuck doing that because you have two strong mons. Even like a Scarf Kartana, Scarf Moon is fine.
Yeah,
Boost your speed Moon is maybe not ideal, but it's fine. Oh, and the Raikou. How did I forget the Raikou? So you can
Raikou's
even
one good
run
too.
like
Yeah.
Adamant Roaring Moon and not have to worry about the one speed tier.
And I think that 85 for Feeney, like you still have to respect that enough that um a lot of like the 90s and 95s, even though you don't have one, they still can't run like plus attack nature or plus
Yeah,
specific
yeah.
nature. So yeah. I mean I think I like the team overall. Like again, just ignore the terrain and just say like this is a water fairy type that does everything else that Feeney does except for terrain. And I think it's fine because it's in a way it's actually like made better by the fact that there isn't like an unburdened mon that actually wants the terrain and that you're like an opportunity cost if you have to like decide like Misty
Yeah, true.
terrain's
If
probably
there's
the
a Pokemon
least
that's reliant on
consequential
it,
to just get rid
yeah,
of,
you're right.
so it's like
If
you don't run it, it's
if you
whatever.
can find an easy Fini switch like swap somewhere in trades, I think that
Yeah,
would be ideal.
like a
There's no
Prim,
way Prim is
but
open, right? I mean,
I
no,
doubt
it's
it.
not. Maybe the Prim player will just trade it to you one for one. I mean, who knows?
How many points is Prim? Is it 16 as well?
It's 14.
Yeah,
So you'd be able to do the trade if they were okay with it because they would have the cap space for it. But I don't know. That's just my thoughts. That being said, I do like Fini Speed Tier, like you were saying, and it's one of those Pokemon that it has just such high defenses and a decent speed tier that it can get away with just an HP invest, a speed invest to like taunt everything that it needs to taunt, and then off to the races.
yeah. All right. Do we want to move on to Crabbit next? Or were there any other final
Yes, let's
thoughts?
do that. Yeah, Roy, that was a really good team. I didn't mention, by the way, this is he's been around forever. Yeah.
Yeah, what is up?
Oh, Fox Hunter's here. That's funny. Oh, they don't have the points for Fini, right? Yeah, yeah. So that wouldn't make sense.
Why are these? Is it just me
I
not
mean, hey,
loading? Yeah, okay,
maybe
it just
maybe
wasn't loading.
something can be figured out. That's okay. Yeah, on to Crabbit. And I think Crabbit has a pretty decent team.
So does
I
most
think
of the
it can be
community.
very resilient with oh yes, sorry, the community review is 7.13.
Pretty close to average.
Yeah, I mean above a 7 and I agree.
That's with a 3.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and there's a lot of 9s and a lot of 8s. That 3 is
Yeah.
definitely just bringing it down a bit. I gave it an 8 myself too. I think, yeah, like I was saying, it's very durable. With the Terra Garganackle, Reuniclus, Aegislash, I think is going to be really tough to break. And there are no slouches offensively. Even an Iron Defense Garganackle is strong offensively. It's going to force a lot of covert cloaks.
Yeah.
And Terra Diplin is also
I was gonna say, don't
pretty
sleep on him.
pretty reliable on the bottom end. And Mega Altaria too can be like pretty bulky with Roost.
Yeah.
So a
The
lot
only issue
of
with Diplin is like kind of item locked. He's
yeah, it'll
not
always
good.
be Eviolite, yeah.
Yeah. Technically not item locked, but yeah, it's just gonna be sticky
Yeah,
gold
yeah.
Eviolite.
Yeah. But a lot going there, like not even just defensively, because these Pokemon aren't inherently defensive. I'd say Garganackle is the most Pokemon, but Body Press was the biggest mistake of a move that Game Freak could
Defense
have
equals
created. So
offense.
yeah, defense equals attack. Great, very cool.
And make sure it
Um,
hits super effective against the types that resist the traditionally physically defensive rocks and steel types or
yeah,
rocks. It's
yeah.
mostly rocks. She's like, oh, better to bring in your fighting resist for this mon. Oh, by the way, this is a steel type or a rock type that is going to kill your fairy or your steel type.
Yep. Okay, other than that though, I mean, the rest of the team doesn't sit around and wait for the backbone to do the job. I mean, there's
Yeah.
Garchomp and Darkrai are going to pull a lot of heavy weight in this game. Having Chomp around means that Garg doesn't have to run rocks all the time. You can run a more flexible Garchomp there. I do think it would be nice to have, like, if you want to support Garg, that you have to neuter your Chomp. Maybe not neuter it, but like I feel like that could be something to improve the team. If like, let's say Excelgor was a low tier rocker, it is a low tier spiker though, so I think that's fine.
Yeah.
Speed tiers seem fine. There's up
It's a
from let's
very
say
fast
Mega
team
Altaria.
minus a
Yeah,
couple
from Mega
mons that are super
Altaria,
slow.
there's a bit of a jump from Altaria to Garchomp, and then I mean you've got Superior Tornadus and Darkrai all above 110.
And
And
Excelgor.
Excelgor. Yeah, wow. Totally forgot. So I'm not worried about the team's speed, and
Yeah.
it's weirdly enough, it's a fast team that has Trick Room options
Yeah.
with Aegislash, Garg, and Reuniclus. I think is just one of the better Trick Room mons just in the game.
Well, that's why I was looking at like the speed, the average speed. And I was like, how does this team have like 4 mons over 110? Their average is only 84. It's because the mons that aren't above 110 are 30, 35, and 40.
Yeah,
Like, it's like, all right,
yeah.
well, that'll bring it down. 4 mons 110 and above, 4 mons 60 and below.
I love that everything here can be a win con. I'd say maybe except for Excelgor and Diplin. Like
Yeah,
Diplin is only a
and
win
Dippin
con
can be.
if the opponents can't break it, which is a real
It's
win
still a
con.
win con. Yeah, especially if
It's
the Terra
kind of
comes
the
in.
same as Garganackle, but Garg is actually like setting up. You can run what is it like Growth Diplin? I think technically it can set up. It's either Growth or Workup or like something stupid like that.
I think it's growth.
Probably Growth. But like Chomp with SD Scale Shot, Darkrai with Plot, Aegislash with SD, Garg with either Curse or Iron Defense, Reuniclus with CM and or Iron Defense as well, or Acid Armor technically.
Yeah,
Altaria is extremely flexible, but the main setup it has
DD.
will be DD. It can be Cotton Guard, but that's not really like it
Yeah.
doesn't have body press itself, so it's
You
not
don't
using
really
it
need Cotton
offensively.
Guard Altaria on this team, I don't think.
Yeah. Um, Even again, like Leaf Storm Serp just sets up itself, bulk up Torn, Nasty Plot Torn. I feel like there's so many ways to win here, and it's different from Sao's team because Sao's team had a lot of ways to set up and win as well. But this one I think is a little bit more structurally sound.
It's less conditional.
I yeah, I
It's more like
don't
in your own
like
hands.
though. I don't like that the fairy is Mega Altaria because
It's also not a fairy
it's
until it
very
comes
like
in.
not traditional. Exactly. It's not a fairy, and it's like it's basically a rocks weak fairy that has to wait a turn to be a fairy,
Yeah.
right? Which
Though Mega
kind of hurts
Altaria
it.
lead's also not uncommon. Just like
Yeah,
get
yeah,
it
for
in there,
sure.
quick Mega,
Yeah.
T-Wave, and then get out. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it is the only
My
fairy,
team
but
is
every
live. I've
Uniclus
got
is
it up
like
on the other screen.
fat enough, I guess. Oh, your team's playing?
Yeah. I am still streaming. I promise. I've just got it up on the side.
Just don't comment on it. Don't give any hints.
I won't. I probably won't.
Click fake out. No, I'm just guessing it's Ambipom because like how would Ambipom not be in the finals?
Yeah. But I mean, I guess I would want to be able to check. There's no grounded poison right now. I would like for the team to have a poison, but it doesn't
Well,
struggle that
Garga's
much in ET
immune.
spikes. Yeah, Garg is immune. Reuniclus is effectively immune.
Aegislash is immune.
Aegislash is
Reuniclus is
immune.
immune.
Yep.
Altaria is immune if it hasn't mega'd yet.
Mm-hmm.
Torn is immune. Dipplin
Gwen is
doesn't
immune.
want that. Garchomp doesn't want that. Darkrai doesn't want that. So it's not the end of the world.
Really does not want it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there are removers.
Removers that are immune as well. So
yeah, I mean the removers aren't that great though, to be honest. Like Superior Torn don't want to have to be doing it.
But also doesn't want to have to be
Yeah,
doing
Altaria also, yeah.
I think Torn doesn't care as much. Torn Eye at least.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's not like non-Terra Serp has any other buttons to click at the time. It is your Leaf Storm, Glare, Leech Seed, and then whatever else you could run Defog if you want. Yeah, it's a solid team. I think this is another example. I mean, you mentioned Sal's team, where it's like it's another team where it's just like it has enough win condition mons like that can just kind of carry a game, and I think that just goes a long way in Truant. You could win on the backs of a lot of these mons.
Yeah, agreed. So yeah, I definitely agree with a lot of the ratings. It's some of these averages feel so weird to me, because I look at how many 8s and 9s the team has, and then how low the average feels below that. Definitely weird.
It's just because it's like
I know, like 1-3 vote is like 5-6 votes.
Well, because the 3 vote is 4 points removed from the 7, whereas the 9 vote is only 2 points removed from it. So it's dragging it down much more than a 9 is dragging it up. And if you look at the distribution of like the 5s and 6s, you still have 5 votes below 7, and it's 8 votes above, and then 3 votes at 7. But it's just how it's spread out. It just because the average is still above 7, but it's not that much above it. So
yeah.
All right, we can go on to Corey next.
Anyways, yeah,
Corey, who was in the chat, I don't know if he's still here.
Corey, who was in the house.
Whenever we need to correct something.
Yeah, I set a precedent yesterday that I would never rate a Mega Mawile team above a 7.
Are you going to?
And I think I'd take it back already because I like this team a lot.
I mean, there's your favorite.
There's some really weird Pokemon here.
You love Blacephalon though, especially
Blacephalon is definitely a good fire resist. Yeah, no, no, there's a lot to like about this team though, and I think like the Terratinglu is weird. Yes, you usually would want a Terratinglu when you want a ghost type to like stop rapid spins, for example.
It's okay,
you have a ghost type. Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. You have a ghost type, so you don't really need to do that. But it's nice to not have to bring Blacephalon when you want to do that. And you also have like Torn and Skarmory, which feels a little odd to me sometimes as a steel type. Maybe I would have preferred to see a steel type that isn't also flying. It's almost like running Torn and Corv on the same team. Yeah, and you do have Mawile, but it's fine that you have 2 steals with Mawile, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
three
I'm saying
skills
that I
if
think
you
that
want to
works out.
count Togedemaru. Yeah.
True.
Something that's weird is I've seen this before, and I understand where they're coming from, but I don't think I like it when teams run Torn T and Cyclozar, because it feels
Regen
like
core,
Cyclozar is
regen
just
core,
mini
regen core.
Torn.
Yeah. I mean, you do want a spinner on a Tinglu team, though. I think that's why.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. And but it does mean that Torn doesn't have to like defog, right?
Yeah,
Very often. It does mean you have to bring a Cyclozar, but honestly,
I know.
Cyclozar is usable.
It's usable, but there's so many
I
other
like
way
Cyclozar.
more usable mons on this team that you still probably don't
Yeah,
want to have to bring Cyclozar.
yeah. But I feel like Corey listens to me when I say get another Steel and get another Fairy with Mega Mawile because he's got
You
Scarm,
got them
Fez, and
both.
Dippity. Yeah.
You forced him to
And I
pick
actually,
Togedemaru.
yes. I also like the idea that like Scarm and Fez basically just mean that you don't even need to bring Mawile. Like, okay, I know you bring Mawile for the offense, not for its like defensive typing. Um, but like the Spadef on Fez and the Fizdef on Scarm, really open up the like let them get the best out of the typing. Um, and make it so that Tinglu doesn't have to be, for example, like the only Spadef answer or the only
Yeah.
Fizdef answer. Means that Torn doesn't have to be like defensive, and it's really freed up to be whatever it wants to be.
Corey says he
And
wanted a
Corey
spinner that
says,
fit his gimmick. I don't know what is there a gimmick on this team, or are you
"Yeah,
just
Corey,
meaning
explain the
generally
gimmick
what the
then."
team wants to do?
Yeah. Um, I talked about this before briefly, actually. I think about specifically Torn, where like if you have something around the same speed tier, you can run bulky Torn. And it
EF
kind of
cycles are
actually
exactly the
it
same
works
speed too.
both ways here, I'd say, actually, with Torn and Cyclozar. Like if you're running fast Torn, you can be like a bulky AV Cyclozar, for example, I think
Yeah.
is really strong. So you've got two 121s, and then you've also got 110 with Pawn and Blacephalon that's slightly below that.
Nothing evolves. Oh.
Oh,
Well, one of them mega evolves.
that's the gimmick?
Yeah, that's what you just said.
Sure. I mean, it's just an interesting. What do you mean nothing evolves?
They're all like individual, like they're all like single mons
Oh,
in their
like you're
line.
not counting Mega Mawile as
Yeah, I
like
guess because Mawile itself is a single stage
yeah.
evolution. It's true though. Like, I mean, that's why a lot of them are like legendaries or special mons, like ultra beasts or whatever. So you really end up with just uh Skarmory, Cyclozar, Bruxish, and Togedemaru are the only ones that that are not legendary or ultra beast or a mega evolution. So
Yeah. Something a slight problem that I have is I think that even though I say that Mawile isn't like mandatory to bring because you've got the Scarm Fez and you can like do its typing profile even without it, I think if you don't bring Maw, your offenses start to struggle.
yeah,
Now
just
Water
overcoming
Pawn is very
Blacephalon.
strong. Water Pawn is very strong. Torn is just a little bit inconsistent, and Blacephalon I feel like is matchup dependent.
Yeah,
Um, so are you relying on like offensive Tinglu? You very well might, right? And I mean even like
which as the
Skarmory
Terra
can be
Captain you
like
can.
set up too. Yeah, but yeah, might just struggle to find offense in games that you try to cover Torn's sorry, Mawile's set elsewhere. How did you come up with this gimmick, by the way? What made you want to do mono no evolutions? And while you're answering,
He's relying on Whirlwind. That's not the answer to your
relying on
question, by the
Whirlwind.
way. I think he's
True.
talking about
Relying on
offense.
Whirlwind for what?
For
Sorry.
offense.
All right. Well, that's fair. Yeah. So let me know how you came up with that. Do you have any thoughts before we move on? There's probably more to talk about.
I actually don't know if there is a whole lot more to talk about because a lot of these things are just things that we've talked about a lot already with these rosters. Like we've talked about Blacephalon a lot, kind of what it wants to do. We've talked about like Tinglu, I think pretty extensively even just right now.
Mm.
Torn and Mega Mawile are pretty straightforward.
Yeah,
Same
I
as
think even the
Scorum.
top four in general, we've seen a bunch, or like versions of the top four. Maybe
Yeah.
before the Terra Tinglu. I think that's a new addition to
Yeah, this is the
the
first time
core
we've
there.
seen that so
Yeah,
far.
I think my first couple picks were
Voices.
following it. Just had to. I just decided to do it for the laughs. True.
Good idea.
Yeah, that's very fair.
Yeah. I mean, I think usually we'd also talk about like potential changes, but we can't really talk about that if there's a gimmick here that we're not really considering. It's hard to say like who to trade or what to do without knowing. I think it's solid though. I think it's. I mean, so far it's won 3 games.
Yeah, true. OZ 3-0.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Corey was just relegated to
Yeah. I know Corey's been up and down.
yeah, to Truant from Swarm. I think he had a rough season in Swarm last season. But he's definitely primed to have a good season now. I mean, he's already off to the races. He just needs maybe one more win and you're almost guaranteed for playoffs, depending
I
on
mean, already
your
+10 too. So
diff.
like one more win, I think
Plus
would be
10
like
is really good. Yeah, I think
pretty
one more
much
win and you're
locked in.
mostly guaranteed.
I mean, locked in as much as you can be in Truant, where you have to
Yeah.
assume that there are going to be a couple people that probably go like 0-8 or 1-8. Like there's not going to be a lot of fighting. It's fighting for the 4-0 plus X and still missing. But yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump to Stormtide.
Yeah.
And Stormtide appears to have a
Pretty good rating.
average rating, yeah, 7.5.
On the dot.
Yeah, and there's a lot of sevens, quite a few nines.
Yeah. People
110.
definitely there's a little bit of a divide between people who think the team is okay and who think it's very good. I am one of the people who think, funny enough, I'm the only person who rated it an 8, 8 out of 10.
Wow.
I think it's right smack dab in the middle.
7.5.
Yes, and I was exactly right, now wasn't I?
Yeah.
It's
It's this Mega Scizor Latios, which is pretty tried and true.
yeah, and Sneasler on top of that, I think adds a nice bit of offense as well.
Yeah, Sneasler with the psychic terrain as well. Because in DD, you get both in DDs, right?
Yes,
Like
you
male,
do.
female, yeah. So you do have the terrain angle there. Dawn Fan looks like a bit of a panic spinner pick, but also like you don't really have hazard stacking outside of Klefki and maybe Sneasler. So I don't think it's really that bad if Klefki has to defog.
Yeah, I think it's yeah, it really isn't the end of the world. Like
It's
your
just
other
the
steal isn't
only.
really setting anyways. I guess your only hazards, yeah, are just Klefki, Donphan, if you want to count Marowak.
Yeah, maybe the
Um,
bigger concern is that it's the only ground type, like the only electric immunity on
yeah.
the team with really the only resist being Latios. Besides that, and you have a Manaphy.
Yeah, true, actually. Electric kind of
And
runs through this team. Well,
though Jug
there's
could
Lightning
just Terra
Rod.
ground,
Lightning Rod Marowak too.
but that's not really that's not really fixing more problems than the 9 point Dawn Fan. I guess it's a Terra Captain, so it's effectively worth more than 7. But it's also Olola Marowak. But there is a Trick Room angle with the team though.
Yeah, actually, I
Within
agree. Like
DD.
Indeedee, Healing Wishing in TR.
Yeah. And just going for the Alola. I guess the only issue with the Trick Room angle is that this team is also really fast otherwise. Like there's not a lot of like mid-speed mons besides the defensive mons that aren't going to be running speed. I guess in DD sometimes run speed, but not on the Trick Room team if it's the Trick Room setter.
Yeah.
And like Klefki's speed doesn't really count. because it's just Prankster. Um, Everything else is like above 100, and then Scissor just priority, so I guess that it just kind of ignores the Trick Room most of the time anyway. But like Sneasler is a mon where it's like you're even if you're like minimum speed, which why would you even bring it at that point? But like even if you were, it's like you're still outspeeding mons that are speed invested, and like you're still gonna be slower than them in Trick Room. Um, it's a rare case where I feel like the Trick Room splash is actually kind of hard to do. Because if it doesn't work out, you have too many mons that'll just outspeed everything in Trick or that'll be
Yeah,
slower in Trick Room, and it's like really
yeah,
hard to
true.
avoid that happening because they're that fast.
My expert opinion is that I personally really like this team offensively, and I think you can do numbers to teams really easily. Like Terra Jugulus with a booster energy feels very strong. Latios is obviously Latios. You have Terrain Sneasler that doesn't have to terrain, like it's not locked into it at all.
Yeah.
It's just a nice speed tier, good attacker, good win con. Mega Scizor, I mean, fantastic. And Manaphy can really prey on the bulky waters that would try and abuse Scizor.
Wait a
But
minute.
what?
I just noticed something.
What's that?
Psychic terrain with Prankster Klefki and Bullet Punch Scizor.
Oh, I did forget about the bullet punch. The clef key really isn't the end of the world because you can just spikes and screen
No.
and that's
Yeah,
fine.
and they are around the same point too. They might not even be coming to the same games necessarily. Um,
Yeah.
I just thought about that. That was like
Yeah, you're right. I didn't think about that.
if your Trick Room Sitter is also a Psychic Terrain user, it's like even Scizor can't do anything in that now. Like it's like it gets
Yeah.
faster than anything.
Yeah.
But go on with what you were saying. I just noticed that because you mentioned the Psychic Terrain, and it just made me think like, oh wait,
Yeah,
it's
you're
not
right.
just a
I've
terrain
definitely
splash like Grassy
I've
Terrain or
definitely seen a Lele Scizor team before, like Mega Scizor, and laughed at them before. So I think I've got to give you the ha 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 for the
ha.
yeah, it's not a big deal when you control the terrain. I agree, like you know when you want to run Iron or for example, like
Yeah,
Agility Ironhead, I guess. Um, and you don't have to do it. It's just like
but
odd to
that's the
opt
same
into,
as
like what I
like
was saying before,
the Lele, or I mean
the
the
Fini
Feeny
Furum.
before, where
And
it's
Didi
like,
is less of an integral piece of the team though. You know, like
yeah,
you run in Didi when you want terrain, not when you want a water fairy type, which is I
I
feel like a
agree.
lot more important.
I'm just saying like the when you control the terrain comment, I think that's like it doesn't really absolve the issue of like you're still the one with
Yeah.
terrain and you like and it's an anti
And a
synergy on the
prankster and a
team. It's like
scissor. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It's like yeah, true. You can just not bring it, but also like you could have not drafted it. You could have drafted something else, but or even just like if you wanted a terrain splash, just like like any other terrain, I feel like is better on this team. Maybe not Misty terrain, but actually no. Actually, I think Misty terrain is decent on this team because Snisser's not running Dire Claw. He's not allowed. Um, Nobody else is setting statuses. Scizor, I love Misty terrain. And then even like Grassy terrain is like not bad for this team. I guess
Yeah.
you have a lot of mons that ignore it. Um, it's just kind of like a rare situation
My
where like it's actually just the baby psychic terrain isn't the best for this team of all the terrains to splash with Sneasler. But I guess you don't want
my
electric either when your Dawn fans are only electric immunity.
yeah. Okay, my main gripe, I think, with the team is like I don't think it quite strikes the offense versus defense balance as well as some other teams do that have this kind of level of offensive presence. Like I can foresee, for example, Scizor and Manaphy having to be. I mean, Scizor is always fine to be bulky. But if you want to count Manaphy as a 100 speed tier, it's not going to be as bulky as its stats make it seem.
Yeah,
Kind of Victini style. And yeah, I can just foresee the backbone that you bring to certain games being basically here's my bulky Mega Scizor uh and my Donphan, and that's like the only defense you have. And I don't think anything other than Scizor is really worth like talking too much about defensively. Like I'm not going
yeah,
to write home about how strong the core of this team is. And similarly, the pivots I don't think are there. Like It's very offensive pivot with Sneasler, Latios, Scizor. Manaphy can pivot around, but everything else I feel is come in, hope you have the 1v1 matchup, and eventually circle back around, switch back into Scizor, and start the chain all over again.
Yeah.
And in matchups where Scissor's not good, that could be pretty tough.
Though you do have the angle of like screens Klefki to spruce up some of the defenses on the team. Um, like especially like Manaphy is a mom where it's like you said, it's like it might look good with the stats here, but it's not super reliable. I think if you put a screen in front of it, though, it becomes a lot better. But then it's like, yeah, then you have to like hard swap to it, so it has to take a hit before it does anything because Klefki doesn't pivot. How many turns is Klefki can actually get to put the screens up? Who's gonna just start prepping for that and bring like Brick Break, Psychic Fangs, even just taunting it after the first screen goes up? Like, not super reliable, but it is something worth mentioning. I think that you do have like one of the best screen setters in the game if you're going to be running screens. It's just you don't want it to be too obvious or too telegraphed. Which so far Cliffy's only come once, so I think they're doing a good job of not making it like a super obvious thing to prepare for. But if the defenses are an issue, I think you do have an angle there at least. Even if it's just to set up the bulkier mons, like just put a screen up and get your Scizor, Swords Dancing, or Latios, Calm Minding, whatever.
What do you think in general about the Terra Alolan? Because I feel like we've talked about Alolan Marowak a good amount. I think it was in Hustle that the first one was in.
Well,
how do you think it goes as a Terra captain here?
I think it's fine here because it's not like a worse version of another mon on the team. Like it's not just another mon, but with the caveat that you have to set Trick Room first, which I think was the issue of the other Alolan Marowak. Was like, yeah, still solid, but also like, why not just use the mon that does it without Trick Room? And it's just as strong. This team just doesn't really have that. So like, I think and I think that it's getting more value out of that Trick Room threat as like an actual big deal, and you're maximizing your Terra points here too. You have your exactly 20. You have a good fast one. You don't really have another like. Okay, that's not true. You have Sneasler and Scizor's physical threats, but I think it's still kind of different than what Marowak poses. As just kind of a bomb that doesn't have to set up, or they set itself up. Does have to set up a Trick Room. I don't know. I think it's fine here. I don't really see what else it would need to be for a Terra Captain. Like maybe a defensive Terra Captain, but I don't even think that's 100% necessary. I don't know. I think it's fine. I think we'd have to see if it shows up with Trick Room a lot, which I mean, it's come to 2 games. Cliffy also has Trick Room, right?
I think so. Let me double check. Kyle also says in chat, Alolan Marowak is underrated. The damage output can be very scary. I hated fighting that thing week 1. I made sure finding my answer to it was a top priority because of the damage output. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of deceiving.
The problem is like how much can you dedicate to beating it though? Like, I feel like if you knock off its thick club, it really struggles to do that. Rather than trying to find an answer to something that will kill you every time, I think finding an answer to making sure that it can't click the strong moves is
or
probably better.
Just the general answer to Trick Room, which is just like bringing Protect.
Yeah.
Like letting it have to waste a turn, and then it's like, cool, now you only have to tank 1 hit, or
Sorry, here, let me double check that. What was I looking at? Klefki Trick Room, right?
Yeah. I think it gets it. It's just it won't get the Prankster.
It does get Trick Room.
It's still -5.
It does get
Trick Room. To 1 priority stage.
Yeah, so definitely a good option.
I'm just thinking that had to have been like if we were Trick Room here with the Marowak, then Trick Room here, because then that makes sense. I don't know if they were Trick Room games. That's just my guess. But
okay, well, I think that about does it. Yeah. I like the team, and like I said, I rated it an 8, despite the kind of negative things I said about the backbone. I think just the elite offense that the team brings, while not really slacking on like the hazard game. Ignore. Yeah, exactly. Okay, on to Sumanth now.
All right, this is the first of our second half, so let me fix the.
Okay, let's go. Actually, if we're halfway, now's a good time for me to pee. Okay, I'm done.
All right, cool. Here's the second
I'm
episode.
kidding. I just need like 30 seconds. Give me a second.
Okay, I'm not done. I'm still going.
I'll be right back if you want
All
to
right.
get some first thoughts. This is a team that I think is very interesting. And my rating is very different from the average rating, which I'll get to after I
Well,
return.
it looks like everyone's rating is very different from the average rating. We have a very widespread here. So, well, he is up and away. I'll just read through. We have 1 3. We have 2 4s. We have 1 5. We have 2 6s. We have 4 7s. We have 3 8s, and we have 3 9s. The only votes that were not submitted were 1, 2, and 10. And this is a 6.69 is the average. It's a T-Tar Excadrill team, which I think, and a Terracerylage, which is like I would think that this is a team that pretty easily passes the eyeball test for a lot of people. Like if you're just looking at the screenshot of this roster while you're going through the poll, this is one where it's like it's hard to deny the obvious synergies and also the obvious really strong Terra Captain. So I'm wondering what we're going to find when we dig a little bit deeper into it. I'm already seeing some of the issue, which is that we have the Double Dark as the top two types here. All three of them weak to fighting. Short up a little bit with the Screamtail Quad Resist, with the Aloe just kind of walling most physical things anyway. I would, and then Muck is also another good physical answer. I would think that the people who voted it lower are probably focusing on this issue here. This trio of fighting weak mons. Personally, I think it doesn't really matter a whole lot. I mean, I guess Mega Kangaskhan also falls into that fighting weak list. I don't think it really matters a whole lot because I think that Screamtail and Aloe can come to just about any game. Like I don't think they
Hello, I'm
are
back.
hello. I started talking about how on one hand it like super clears the eyeball test because you have the synergy of Excadrill, T-Tar, Tried and True. You have the Terrasail Edge, which we know is a really good Terra Captain. But on the other
Hmm.
hand, you have the top three mons all weak to fighting, and so is your Mega. Um,
And
but
ground doesn't
then,
get much better.
yeah, Ground is also pretty strong against this team. Um,
Yeah, Meow is like
so
not really a ground resist.
yeah, I think, and honestly, if we had to look at like any one thing that probably holds the team back, which is hard to say because it's also the speed tier that is important here. Um, it could. I think the Meow is like probably the one that is least necessary of these mons because I like the combination of the Screamtail with Titar. I mean, the Sand is a little bit anti synergy for Screamtail, but just the quad fighting resist for this combination, I feel like it's just really nice. It probably holds a little bit too much pressure when you have all three of your highest point mons weak to fighting, and when your Ghost is your Terra Captain that you're not really going to be throwing out as a risky fighting call out. Um, because that's the other thing about running T-Tar in general is every match has a level of mind games, sure, like where you're trying to call out, like you're trying to predict a move and hit like a middle ground option. With T-Tar, it's such a higher chance that somebody's clicking a fighting type move that like there are more cases where you're not just looking for the middle ground. You're going to the fighting resist. You're going to the fighting answer because it's just very obvious that what they're gonna do. Amplified even more by the fact that there's so many fighting resists on the team. I mean, fighting weaknesses on the team. Um, and I think in a way that makes it even more risky for Cerulege. Like you can't just hard call out the fighting type because if you're wrong once and you're just always confident that somebody's gonna click a fighting type move, you lose your Terra Captain. Or he's already Terra'd and he's not a fighting immunity anymore. Again, I do think Screamtail and Aloe help a lot with the general physical weakness of fighting and ground because most of the
Yeah,
time
I
they're gonna be
agree. That's
physical.
what I was gonna say.
Um, but it's like I see where the issue is,
Yeah.
and it's like
So
yeah, hard to say.
yeah, I agree. Sorry with you. Basically, Aloe has to do, I think, a lot of the blanket check heavy lifting. Screamtail can help in some cases, I think. Um, and it makes it so that it's not like super telegraphed which Pokemon you're going into.
Yeah.
But like
But you can also just
typically,
click taunt.
yeah, Aloe can still flip turn around,
But it
but
can't wish
yeah,
pass
you're right.
after that though. Like it's like
Yeah,
I think taunt
honestly,
still
Aloe
hurts it on
clicking
this
Wish
one.
on Aloe, I actually think is usually not great unless it's like I don't know. I mean, maybe you would wish pass to Mega Kangaskhan here, but your bulky offense isn't even really that good anyways. So
Yeah.
I think flip turn is you could pull up with your only attack being flip turn, and you would do exactly what I would do 4 moves usually. But regardless, I agree. Like Aloe Screamtail being the backbone is a decently strong backbone, and their defenses are good enough to be mostly flexible. Although Aloe, usually if it wants to be any sort of Spadef, needs like an Assault Vest,
Yeah.
which makes its set really predictable. Well, honestly, its sets are always predictable. Um, and Screamtail like kind of wants to be fast a lot of the time, so it kind of you pull yourself in a couple different ways because there's a huge speed gap here
Yeah.
between if we don't count Screamtail, it's what Mega Kangaskhan to Meowscarada is the is the speed
Yeah,
gap.
but I
So
think
anything
that
from
this is a
100 to
case
110, you want to be outspeeding with Screamtail usually.
I think it's a case though where the opponent doesn't ignore that though. Like you can say like if you're not investing in speed, like yeah, there's a speed gap. I don't think the opponent ignores that though. I think having it there, like this is
No,
a
that's not
case where
even what I'm
Screamtail's
saying.
fine as
I'm saying that
as a mid
Screamtail is
speed.
not going to be as bulky as it could because it needs to run faster. Like I think it will get speed creep out of like the 115s sometimes if they
Yeah, but
don't
I just
want to
don't think
ignore
you
it.
necessarily have to run speed because of that though. I think your opponent still has to respect it. Whereas if it were the speed cap and there's nothing else even close, then your opponent can take more risks. It'd be like, hey,
Yeah,
you know
it's
what?
not about
I'm just gonna.
respect though. It's about how bulky your Screamtail is.
But you can still use it bulky and just not invest in speed though. That's what I'm saying. Like it's less of a
Yeah,
liability not to
but
invest in
then you
speed.
have to, but then you're only like it's fine because you have drill that kind of like tops the speed gap.
Yeah.
Um, but like if it wasn't a sand team, for example, and you're just bringing Meow, are you really bringing Kilowattrel that often? Yeah, I guess you could.
Do your ground
But like usually you
immunity.
just have one thing to outspeed anything over 100, and that can get tough. Is all.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know how much Screamtail actually really helps that though. Like even if you
Yeah.
did outspeed, it's like what is it doing to those months?
Yeah.
I guess it does help
Um.
if it's a dark type that Meow. Well, Meow has U-turn, but
Yeah. I do think, like I mentioned before, the ground type weakness to this team is pretty rough. I think Ceruledge might have to Terra away from a ground weak,
yeah,
or like specifically into a ground resist more often than not.
Terra
Because
buff
your
Flash Fire
resists
Ceruledge.
are like Kilowattrel and Meowscarada. That's pretty dangerous.
Yeah,
So you're relying, okay, and Volbeat. You're relying a lot
terrible
on
beat. So
Aloe
it can
and
Terra into a
Screamtail
ground weakness.
being able to take on ground types in general, which is like not always consistent.
Yeah, it depends on the
Any,
mod.
yeah, it definitely depends on it, but any like strong special breaker that's faster than Screamtail or like that can't be encored or that runs a mental herb or something,
Yeah.
um, can really screw this team over.
Yeah, I have a hard
I
time. I understand why the voting is so spread out for this because it
Mhm.
really just it entirely depends on like what you value. Like if you think if it's strong enough on offense that you can look past this issue, which I think there is an argument for, then you would rate it high. But if you think that this is like so crippling that you're not going to be able to play around it, then you would rate it low. Like I think that there's a valid argument for the nines, and there's a valid argument for the threes and the fours. So I personally,
Yeah,
I think I would lean higher. I think that like it's again, especially in Truant, like this is a team that can just run through people. If you're not really good at like prepping for all these threats and like actually being able to hit your fighting type moves and not get trolled by Screamtail, then you'll do better into it. But also, I think that for the most part, like there's going to be enough threats that it's like even if you start to get on the back foot with this team, All it takes is sacking T-Tar into Excadrill, and if he doesn't get one shot and he can get the Swords Dance off, and priority doesn't kill him, it's like he just wins the game. GG.
Just be
Like, it
GG.
doesn't
Yep.
matter if you won other exchanges. Like, you called out the Yellow twice, cool. Didn't really make a
Yeah.
difference at the end of the day, you know. So,
Yeah.
but I still
Yeah.
think that,
That's
like,
the
if
big
anything,
thing with
I were to
allos.
change, it would be Meow.
Yeah, that's fair. You can predict allo coming in as much as you want, but like if you're not doing more to it than it's regenning off, then it doesn't matter and
Yeah,
you're just losing eventually.
you have to really be able to
Trading
separate
Meow
that in
is
your head.
interesting because it is still technically the only like resist for ground, but you're right, like the double dark on a sand team is kind of sus. Just like the like grounded fire type on sand feels a little like why are you doubling down on these weaknesses so much? I
Yeah,
want to take a look actually at the order that these were drafted. I gotta pull this
I
up a
have it
little
on the
higher.
screen over here. So it was Meow was
So
first
Drill
pick.
was taken second, and T-Tar wasn't taken until the very end. That's
Yeah,
interesting. It might have just been a gamble, saying I don't think anybody's gonna run sand now that I have Excadrill.
yeah. Or also the fact that
But
you
it
have
feels
T-Tar
odd.
and Mega T-Tar until one of them gets picked. And it looks like Mega T-Tar was never picked. So that could have also been why it just waited that long, because it's like there
Yeah,
was never a rush.
it feels odd to me. Um, like for example, if they had like first picked, let's say Ledge, and then second picked Excadrill, or even vice versa, and decided that they wanted Meow like just because it was open at the end of the draft order, I think that would have been a little bit um, of a better of a case for Sumeth. But opting into the sand after first picking Meow just seems like a kind of missed the fact that it would be so ground and fighting weak without
Yeah.
picking up another answer down the line. And Volbeat doesn't cut it.
I don't know what else is on the board for like grass types or just any kind of ground resistant general up there. Because the thing is, like, I don't want to say like, oh, replace Meow with anything that's better type, because obviously like that speed is very important. Like there's a lot of things that
hmm
Meow's doing here that are too important to drop. So that's why it's hard to just say, oh, just get another 18 pointer that does everything Meow does forehead. And
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like,
exactly. That's why I'm like a little cautious doing that.
yeah,
Now, to be fair, I do think that Ledge is just going to be like a bug type 9 out of 10 times, and just pull the like
yeah,
the Great Tusk answer. Because if you're up against the Tusk as sand, you kind of lose.
yeah. Well, you won't be because the Tusk team has Sun.
Oh, actually, you're true.
But
Okay,
yeah,
so last thing I want to touch on is what do you think about specifically Mega Kangaskhan?
I have not seen enough of
Not
it
necessarily
to
just
really
here on the team, but
gauge.
like in general.
I've heard so many mixed stories. I've never used it. I've never played against it in draft. I mean, I've played against it like in Gen 6, but which was, I think, before it was nerfed at least somewhat. Um or maybe power creep got to it. I don't know. I feel like I hear so many things that are like, some people think it's obscenely broken, some people think it's washed and power crept and gets destroyed by Rocky Helmet. GG. Um, I have such a hard time reading it as, because you can't even just look at the stats, because it's not the stats that matter. Like it's
Yeah.
Demon. Like it's like the type doesn't matter. It's a normal type. The stats don't
Yeah.
matter. It has an ability that transcends stats. It
Yeah.
it's so specific, and I don't
I
know,
have a hard
like,
time rating it. I do
yeah,
think on a sand team, it's hard to bring another fighting weak mon that you can't even click like
exactly,
put a
yeah.
Choppleberry on. That's
And
that's kind of tough for me.
that's why I looked at when I at first I was like, oh yeah, we got the top three at fighting week, and then I like went down. I was like, oh, so is your mega. Like it's not actually like that much better. Like, so
Yeah.
I also
Well,
don't sleep on Muck for fighting resist either. Like I actually don't think
yeah.
that
No, you're
like
right. Muck is good.
the defensive options for fighting are pretty solid on the team when you have a blanket check for any physical type, when you have Scream Tail, Quad Resist, when you have Muck. Like the fighting matchup isn't, or no, sorry, the fighting resists aren't bad. It's the fighting matchup overall that just becomes a little bit too like fishy, like jumping between the mons, and you're just baiting it the entire game. That somebody's just gonna click a fighting move, and then it doesn't help that one of the fighting options is just another ground weakness on this team then. So if you bring Muck with these three, cool. That's 4 ground weaknesses just for the sake of having a better fighting matchup, I guess. Right? But yeah, I think I would probably rate this. It's actually hard because I would say like a 7.5 or an 8, just because again, like I kind of have to like ignore the weaknesses because it's just we have one of the
Yeah.
best Terra Captains in the game, one of the best combos in the game, and Mons that just troll people who don't know how to play into them, which you're gonna get a lot of in Truant. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I just have a soft spot for sand, and I can't rate it lower than an 8. So
all right. Moving on to
yeah, moving on.
Damu.
Damu, 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 Damu,
Good one.
Damu, Damu, Damu.
Good one.
What do you got here? We've got an average rating of 7.25. I think that's like square average, if I were to guess.
Yeah, I think we agreed that like 7.3 was average at the
Yeah,
end of
ish.
Truant, but
Like
at this
just
point
just
it's
on the
probably a little
eyeball
bit lower.
test, I think is around there. Yeah.
Yeah.
We see Coco Bundle with Terra Iron Hands and a Mega Garchomp, and I already
We've seen a
know
team like this
there's already a
before.
lot that I like here. It's pretty tough that Chomp is the only rocker. The Terra Captains are great here. I mean, even Alolan Exeggutor, honestly, with Harvest and Terra, I think it actually pulls off. It can pull a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Just becoming, say, a Fairy type, for example, I think is really strong. I do think Snorlax feels maybe a little bit lost here.
He's just
Um,
taking a nap.
well, he can't take a nap. There's electric terrain.
You're right.
Bzz,
There's
wake
only
up.
3 electric types.
Yeah, true. Yeah. I think Terra Hands. I don't count too much as an electric type. I I count it less of an electric type than I count Mega Altaria as a fairy type.
Yeah, but you also like you can say
It's
that
almost
when
like
you're
how Mega
talking about
Altaria
having it
is a
on the team
flying
with
type.
Coco. But then
Yeah.
you add another electric type, and then it's like, okay, well now there's 3. like,
Yeah, and I was gonna
it's
say, well, I was gonna say it's fine because Rotom and Coco don't share a weakness, but they actually share the poison weakness, which I forgot
yeah,
about until right now.
just different types that are weak to
Yeah, just
it.
not based on the electric type, which is kind
Yeah,
of funny. I do think it's nice that the Rotom here is a good Scald Switch, and you don't have to bring Exeggutor to have that.
yeah.
And even just like a ground and water check, I think is nice. Corv is, see, I have a problem rating Corv highly on electric terrain
I was gonna say, yeah, it's like,
because the electric types just actually OHKO you now instead of like letting you kind of roost through it sometimes.
and
But
if
you do have
Chomp
so
has to
many
be your
answers to
rocker,
electric. Yeah, yeah, that's
like,
that's part of the thing is your your matchup to those electric types isn't always like doesn't isn't always at full power because you
yeah.
almost want it to have rocks every time. Which is, I mean,
I
Mega
don't
Chomp is a
think,
great rocker. It's
yeah,
not the end of the world.
I think on this team specifically, like in terms of like ignoring the electric part, I think that Rocks on Chomp is okay. On Mega Chomp is okay because he's already not gonna be like loaded dice or like left, like he can't do that, or he can't like double up on Rocky Helmet. Like he's never gonna need to be playing a role that's not just like Chomp comes in, is fat, clicks Quake sometimes, clicks Dragon Move sometimes, and has rocks and has coverage. Like the fact that you have another fat physical attacker on the team that can do anything that like Chomp can't run a coverage move for, or like can't like oh man, I wish I could, you know, run Dragon Tail, but like then I'd only have Dragon Tail and Earthquake, and because I have to run rocks and spikes or whatever. Like I think that this combination makes it so that Chomp actually can just run rocks every time. It's like not a major drawback. Like he doesn't have to be doing a lot of the heavy lifting, um, physically. And I think it also helps hands too that there's another just Earthquake button that like he can just kind of do whatever else. Like you have a lot of flexibility physically here. Um, the removal is just Corv and Rotom, right? Or in I guess Coco as well.
Yeah, Coco as well. But defogging your own
Yeah, you don't want to
electric
do that.
train is pretty bad usually.
Yeah.
But then again,
I,
I mean, Corv or Rotom are going to do it anyways. So
yeah. Well, Corv actually would probably like to clear the electric terrain.
yeah,
Um, yeah, having defog as your only removal on a terrain team in general probably isn't great, especially a
the
hazard,
thing is, I
somewhat
don't think
hazard
the
second
team is
one. But
really reliant on the terrain. So, I mean, not reliant on it, but it's definitely improved by it, right? Like, there's
yeah,
no Unburden mod that requires it, but Hands and Bundle really get a big benefit
yeah, I think
out of
bundle
just it being
especially
active.
wants it
Yeah,
more.
Bundle really likes it. Yeah.
Like if you're banking on that for your speed and you're not running booster for that reason,
hmm
bundle would be like hands. I think can live without it. Like he likes it,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
he can
for
live without
sure.
Terra
It
hands
it
especially.
usually just like relies on its stats. Now, that being said, having let's say a Cork Drive attack boost does just make your Drain Punch heal you for more, which makes you overall bulkier, which makes you,
Yeah,
it's a trickle down effect, right? Where like
yeah,
just having more damage means that your thing is slightly better.
yeah.
No downside, right? Which is
Right.
mostly the point, but you're not losing value on this Pokemon for not having it up.
Yeah. Um. What about the Entei? What do you think the Entei is doing here?
I think Entei is a speed tier physical attacker.
But
I
like you
don't
already
think you
have so
really
much
needed
physical
the
attack.
the physical attack, but the
Yeah.
100 speed tier with fire type for I mean, you don't even struggle with steel types, honestly. I'd say funny enough, out of anything, you probably struggle with grass types the most. So, just having
Which Entei's good for.
yeah, having Entei around for that is really nice.
Also
I don't
having
think Entei's ever bad here.
a physical one that's just immune to burns is good
hmm
because it means that the team's check for physical attack on this team can't just be wisping everything.
Yeah. And that's kind of the problem is the fire resist here, their Entei and Snorlax, like the water type
Chomp.
is not a water type. Oh, okay. There is Chomp. It can be burned by like flamethrowers and stuff. It's not that
Yeah.
consistent.
It's not the
Same with
best,
Lax.
but it's still an
Yeah, there's
option.
no water type. Not having a water type is fine. If anything, I would say on electric terrain teams, we usually see something like, maybe not usually, but having something like a Swampert that's not
Yeah.
weak to electric is
Doesn't get
usually
impacted by that.
is
Yeah.
kind of common. But like you already have Mega Chomp, so yeah, not trying to double up on grounds. You could. It would be completely fine.
Yeah. I'm thinking maybe like honestly, this Snorlax being yet another physical attacker too. It makes it kind of like
Yeah. See what I
I
mean?
don't
The
know
Lax
when
feels
you'd
a
ever
little
bring Lax
lost.
when you have hands.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, you don't have a Ghost Resist, and you are lacking in special defense. So I
Laxing and
see the
special
thought
defense.
behind it. Um, I I'm not sure if it's like the correct play.
Yeah,
I
I don't
think
think
you're
it
just
does
you're
what
eating up
you want
so many
there.
points in your top five, like maybe top six, that it's kind of hard to fill that gap because you're leaning so hard into the electric terrain. Like more, I think you're leaning harder into electric terrain than teams that are like Coco treads Moth, for example, because they kind of do like good things on their own. But like Hands and Bundle offer you no utility, right? They're just pure offense, basically. You could count Hands as defense technically, like as a bulky offense, but like it's not going to be spinning and rocking and knocking and everything that Treads is doing.
Yeah. You know what I also
So
notice is fighting like aside from the fact that Chomp deters physical contact attackers and hands is just fat. Your fighting resist is just Coco.
yeah, true.
Like a gap dose probably just clicks close combat through this team.
I mean, Gapdos clicks CC through a lot of teams, but like Coco, I feel like Coco and Terra Hands still just beat it. Like you don't have to be offensive Coco. You can be bulky.
It's true, yeah. I think you would actually have to run bulky Coco against a gap dose as an example.
Yeah, like
But it's still something where
specifically
it's
that,
like,
yeah.
how much weight does it carry for that?
hmm
Depends on the rest of the matchup. Maybe it sucks into the rest. I don't know. Like I don't know what the other teams would. I don't
Yeah.
even know if Gapdos was drafted. But
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's
that's
like
just something I
strangely
noticed where it's like
unpopular.
there's. I don't think it's that strange. I mentioned it when we talked about it in a previous uh
Yeah.
review where it was just kind of like a lot of times you just already have a fighting or you already have a flying or you already have a plan for a
Hmm.
flying, and then like if you're just looking at it for the types, it's like, well, I already have one of these. Do I really want to invest like 16 points or whatever it is into another flying type and then have my real flying type be like a sub 10 pointer, or did I already spend 14 points on a different flying type and
Yeah.
now I have two? Like you do have to kind of like know that you want it. It's not a pick up on the fly kind of mon,
Yeah, you're right.
ironically.
It's either you'll get it if you want a defiant Pokemon, or if you like want a choice item user.
Yeah.
But usually you'll want, like you said, a kind of a bulky fighting and or a flying that can defog, for
Yeah.
example.
Oh, that's the other thing. Yeah, it's a flying that doesn't defog. So just so you know
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, so like even just another like I mean usually people will want in their flying type for them to be like fighting resists, ground resists, and like be removal, pivot, and have recovery.
Yeah.
And it kind
At
of
least if you're
doesn't do
spending
much of that.
16 points on it.
Yeah, it doesn't do much of that. It's definitely just a pure offense
Yeah.
piece.
It's a resist in the sense that it resists it to set up a condition. It's like
Yeah, yeah,
you're
right.
not resisting it like as your defensive check. Because it also doesn't
Yeah.
have roost. Like it doesn't even have like it doesn't have
Nope.
recovery either, so but anyway, that's a mon that's not on this team. So like
Yeah. Yeah. So
uh,
I mean, I gave the team a 7. I think
I think
where
it's
was
just
it? It was
very good
7.25. Yeah, I
overall.
think it was like completely fine. I mean, as far as Coco teams go, I'd say maybe it's a little bit um like it's hard to even call it disappointing. I just think the bottom 4 Pokemon. Honestly, I like the Executor. Maybe the
Yeah.
bottom like from Entei to Snorlax, Corv to Snorlax, I'd even say, um, could be slightly different and have
Yeah.
a little bit more of an.
Yeah. I would say the only mon that really feels like it's totally out of place is the Snorlax. Everything
Yeah,
else is fine. And then
yeah. It
beyond
would
those
like to
two,
be able to rest.
yeah, well, I mean, it's just I think there's other reasons why it's even besides that where it's just like not.
Yeah, you're
There's
right.
no
It's
reason to ever bring it
the
to a game.
previously mentioned reasons, and also it
Yeah,
can't go to sleep,
yeah.
usually. Yeah.
All right, well, let's move on to Sky Knight.
Hmm. Sky and his team was rated the exact same actually with a 7.25. Now the distribution was different where I'd say uh the median score was slightly lower, but Damu's team had a 1 and Sky Knight's team has a 9 and a 10.
Yeah,
Damu's were definitely closer like on average to 8. But Sky Knight's move a little they're a little bit more like centered around like 7 and 8. They go slightly higher but don't have a 1.
it is
Definitely hurts
interesting
the
that they ended up
average.
the exact same number though.
Hmm.
I mean, I see a Greninja and an Infernape, which is a combo that I like.
True. And you like bears, probably.
Eh, I
Really?
think I just pointed out that the other team had bears. I don't really care about bears though.
Uh, okay, well, which bear is best?
Um, it might be Ursaluna actually. I've always liked the Teddy Ursa line at least.
Bears beats Battlestar Galactica.
What?
What?
I don't know what that's even a reference. I mean, I know what Battlestar Galactica is, but what is that? Is that a quote?
Yes. From The
Interesting.
Office.
Oh, I haven't watched
I don't even watch The
The
Office. I
Office.
just like randomly get clips sometimes. And
Yeah,
I
I've
had a
definitely
recent
seen
Office thing
clips.
come up, and so it was just on my
That
mind.
was the quote.
It wasn't even that. It was just I
Oh.
thought about bears, and I know what also talks about bears, The Office.
Oh.
Okay,
Yeah, Ursaluna is pretty good for a bear.
Yeah, I agree. I
It is a
actually
double
was.
bear team. It was because there was Slowking was the other one that was like he's kind of like a bear. That's what we were talking
Yeah,
about. It was an Ursulina and a
yeah,
Slowking, different
yeah.
Slowking though.
I see Slowking, Greninja, Ursa, Hydrapple. I'll talk about Infernape again in a minute, but them with like Thundy T, Sylveon. Honestly, it seems like a very over Matt team. I don't think Matt really cares much for Greninja in particular. Maybe if he was like Meowscarada with that team. I mean, the Sylveon is a tried and true Overmat. The Gloking with Thundy T for the Ice Weather Ball. You do
Yeah,
have the Slush Rusher at the end with Terra Sandslash Alola. I'm not a fan of Terra Sandslash
I think it's fine as a low tier
personally.
captain though, if you're pairing it with snow that you already have.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And the fact that you have Hydrapple, like I'd say every other team that's pairing like Hydrapple and like other 14 to 15 point Terras, most of them don't have something that like can win matchups like Sandslash can, right?
Yeah,
In the snow and actually like poses a big threat.
but then also doesn't
Um
need to come and hog the Hera,
yeah,
hog
it
the Hera,
doesn't have to
hog the
come, doesn't
Terra.
have to hug Terra. Yeah. It's nice to have, I guess sometimes, but yeah. Um Infernape to me feels it's fine. Having like without Infernape, the speed goes from 101 to 122, which is a pretty big gap, and having the 108 makes it so that I mean 108 in general is the key speed tier with all of like the Justice Pokemon being around there, and forces more creep on like 110s and like
Yeah.
Ana and things like that.
So the Thundy T, the 101, I think is exactly enough that 115s can't run plus attack.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
So you're already kind of solving that problem. So it's really just the question of like if you're beating speed tie, like if you're matching speeds or like beating things that are over 101, it's not really like discouraging an entire like nature tier.
Yeah, maybe just like the 120s that can't outspeed Gren, but I don't
Yeah,
think 120 is actually that
it's
populated
not
of a speed
super
tier.
common. Yeah, it's more
It
like
definitely is like
119s and
from
118s.
115, yeah, 115 up to like 125. There's kind of a gap around 120
Yeah,
after
we talked
like
about this the
after
other day.
Meow or
Actually, we
so.
looked it up. It's like
Yeah,
Salazzle's
yeah,
the only
literally.
117. Like,
Yeah. Hawlucha is the only 118. There's
yeah,
like two 119s.
it's like Cinderace and Roaring Moon, I think, are
Yeah.
119s.
There's like Zebstrika is somewhere in there as well with Iron Valiant at
Oh
116.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, there's like it's very few and far between. Like the fact that we can name them all on less than two hands.
yeah. Um, well, either way, yeah. Like I, I like that he is helping with the like grass matchup a bit because like Cloaking is good into grass types, but is he really like your poison attacker? He's so slow. Like, do you just get owned by a grass type that has ground coverage for you? Like, like, or do you just like,
What,
uh,
Slowking?
yeah. I'm saying like
Slowking's
having
not dying to random ground coverage.
not getting one shot, but like how much pressure can he necessarily take from that? Like if he's like I wouldn't bank on him to be your killer of grass types because he still has to like usually take a hit first. Um, and that's why I said that we're like having Infernape like for that flexibility is nice for like dealing with grass types when you have the Ursa and the Greninja. I mean Greninja also deals with them pretty fine with his coverage. But just like it looks like most of the rest of the team is just going to be like resisted by water types, or I mean by grass types with the Blastoise. Well, I mean Thundy Volt
Yeah,
Switching, he's not really
I think
quick.
I
He's not
disagree. I
fast.
think Slowking is very good against grass types in general. Like even like a Shaman or a Celebi or something that is like a grass type attacker with Earth Power. I think
Yeah,
you still just 1v1 them, even if they get the read on your switch right with an Earth Power.
yeah. So
Your SPDF is just that
you
high.
can 1v1 grass types with him, but he's never sweeping through a team. Like he's never going to
No,
be
no,
like
no.
whereas like a grass type might stop Ursa from finishing off a team. It might stop Thundy from finishing off a team. Where it's like I like having just the option here that you have like another just like fast threat that's like, hey, you're not only having to answer this Glow King if you're a grass type or
Yeah.
if you're something like that. Um,
I mean, that's kind of fair. I think specifically for these two Pokemon, like Thundy and Snow will have ice coverage, and
yeah,
Ursaluna is not bothered by grass types, honestly. Facade
I
Oko's
guess that's true. Yeah,
almost
Facade will
every
just go
grass
to.
type in the
Okay, what
game.
about grass steel types? Glowking can't hit him versus. I guess it's
Gloking
neutral.
can run
Yeah,
Flamethrower, Ursa can run Fire Punch or Close Combat or Drain Punch. Thundy can be Focus
and
Blast. I
neutral
really
Quake
don't
is
think
probably
it's a
pretty strong.
problem.
Yeah,
Yeah, I really don't think it's that big a deal. Um, I do think the problem comes in their own ground resist though, because ideally Hydrapple doesn't stay a ground resist, right? It's usually wanting to be like a steel type,
yeah, but Thundy
because
can
really your
come
steel
a
type
lot.
is Sandslash. That is not a steel type, right? Your removal, by the way, is Sandslash. That is not
Blastoise.
removal. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't see Blastoise.
Yeah,
Um,
asshole. You better be
yeah,
sorry.
my bad. But like ground types in particular, you're always what Shuka Slowking, trying to trade positively with Ursaluna. You know, just hoping that your Ursa's high enough HP to take one, or hard switching in Thundy, and that feels pretty sus too.
Yeah.
So a little bit worried, I think, about the ground matchup here. Um, Everything else seems to, I guess maybe like, nah, Slowking beats all poison, except for like maybe Alolan Muck and Drapion, like the poison darks kind of deal. But everything else, I mean, the team seems to have its bases covers. It's like you said, it does have the removal in Blastoise. It might be hard to bring that every game, especially with Gren.
With
Like
Greninja, yeah.
with Gren, you don't really count it as a water type. You
No.
count Blastoise as a water type,
You count Gren
but it's not
offensively
really
as a
like
water
a de
type.
facto. Yeah, it's not really like a main water type
No.
as much as
Well,
like a Milotic kind of
it's like
thing.
who were we just looking at?
The Tentacruel.
No, there's one where it's like I guess Ledge maybe. It was someone who was like it's a resist, but like you have to predict it. If you're setting up your win condition. Oh, Gyapdos, who wasn't on a previous roster, that's
Mm,
what I didn't think of it. It's a
yeah,
resist in the sense that's like if you can use it to set up a win condition, yeah, it's a water type. Like it'll resist the ice or the flamethrower that they're choiced into and let you start your sweep. But it's not a water type in the sense that it's like it's coming in constantly and like tanking those things. Um, yeah, but I like that the two attackers here with like the most flexible move pools are, well, I guess looking at a flexible move pool are mixed attackers. Like and they can just kind of do whatever. But you're not lacking in the hard hitting physical or the hard hitting special. That's your also your Terra Captain. Um, and even Sylveon's like a hard hitting special attacker. Thundy's a hard hitting special attacker. Like you have a lot of options there. So I think that like
yeah.
Gren doesn't even have to come to every game. Like there are games where it's like Infernape can just do Gren's job, kind of. Like it's not the same
Yeah,
speed tier,
true.
but like like I think if anything like these two aren't going to be coming to every game. It'll probably be like one or the other, but they're still posing equal like team building threats. Where it's like they're still there. It's just that are both kind of looking for a similar win condition as the utility knife.
I would say usually Infernape is going to be the thing that doesn't come over Gren.
Well, actually, you're wrong
And
because
my
Infernape has come to 2 games and Greninja hasn't come to any,
Yeah, I
which I
mean,
just
just like
noticed.
theoretically, I would
Yeah.
think that. But so I think the reason for Infernape coming more than Gren is
Because
Sandslash isn't come.
Blastoise
Oh, it
can.
did come.
Yeah, come on.
Um,
Yeah. Blastoise can do both games
your
though.
rockers are Infernape and Sandslash Alola.
Oh yeah.
Your Steel basically doesn't exist.
You mean to tell me that this ground type that evolves
Your
from a
ground type
Gen 2
doesn't
mod
rock.
doesn't get Stealth Rocks? What's this
Yeah.
about?
Yeah, your ground doesn't rock. Your Steel like it does rock, but it's not a very good Steel type.
Yeah.
And your Spinner is your second worst Pokemon on your team. I think it's very hard to play a hazard game at all with it,
Yeah. Actually, I was
right?
going to
And
say
yeah,
about the second lowest point in your team. I actually think this team is pretty well budgeted though. Like because like it's your
yeah,
second lowest, but your lowest is also like a Terra Captain that is a Weathermon that's like probably better than 6 points with weather. Um
hmm
So I think overall, like, there's no real dead weight on the team, but yeah, it does kind of suck when it's like if you can't bring Greninja because you had to bring Blastoise and Infernape. Because yeah,
Well,
if you
yeah,
bring
and
in both Blastoise
I
and
think
Infernape, you're not bringing Grand.
part of the like deficiencies of the team that's making that even worse is that not only is your removal bad, your team is also mostly bad against ground types, right? So yeah, like Thundy will have either grass or ice coverage in some scenarios. It's still hard to switch it in, and your removal's bad, and the ground types are just always able to rock on
Yeah,
your switch, right? So it's just it's just not ideal, but I think kind of similar to what I was saying before. I don't remember which team exactly, but I think this team strikes a good balance between its offense and its defense.
yeah,
And it's largely in part due to the Gloking Hydrapple defensive regen core, both having like okay, Hydrapple doesn't have coverage, but it'll have Terra Blast potentially. And like Nasty Plot is
Hydrapple, you
good
mean?
for muscling through. Um, Slowking has a lot of good coverage. And Sylveon as well is actually like pretty sturdy defensively, yet
Yeah.
not lacking in offense.
I feel like Sylveon's actually the mon here that's going to be like hard to fit. Where it's like not that it's like necessarily hard to fit into a team, but more like if you aren't used to using it or like if you kind of underestimate any of these stats, it can be hard to be the mon that comes to mind when you're like trying to just like brainstorm. Like you glance at the other team and you're like, okay, what do I need to bring in this against this? I need my Gloking for this guy. I mean, well, you don't really consider not bringing him, but like I need Infernape looks really good here. Oh, Thundy looks really good here. He can volt switch a lot if I get rid of this
Yeah,
ground
everybody
type.
looks good
Like
everywhere,
and
but
it's like
then
Sylveon is just kind of like it's really good, but it's like it's also not like ever the one thing that you need as the 12th pointer. That even if it actually is the one thing you need, I feel like it doesn't usually come to mind. Like when you're looking at all these other pieces that need to fill specific roles, it's a very nice blanket role option, but I feel like it works better on a team that has more room to just like fit it in without really having to think about the specifics.
you either run Sylveon when you're running like maybe an AV Ursa or some sort of Ursa set that you want to be able to wish pass to, and or you aren't Fairy Hydrapple. But I think in
Yeah,
every other case where you say, "Oh, I need a fairy type,"
it's just
you're more
Hydrapple.
concerned about fitting Hydrapple onto your team and seeing whether it has to be the fairy.
Yeah, or if it can spare not being the steal.
Yeah, true. So if you're just committed to perma steel or fairy Hydrapple, it's like I think a lot more serviceable, and Hydrapple is going to be completely fine doing that.
Yeah.
But it's just like that combined with the fact that the hazard game is bad, combined with the fact that the ground matchup is bad. I was ready to give this team like a 9 out of 10. I had to knock it back down a little bit to an 8.
Yeah,
I
I think that's
still like
fair.
the team a lot, but I think it'll struggle to do like it'll struggle to keep its identity while still trying to like check the boxes in a lot of
Yeah,
cases.
I agree with that. Next up, we have Rosie the Kitsune. And we had a question from Azzy in the chat. How many bear Pokemon are there? There are a lot. It's probably one of the
Mm.
most common animals that they've done. Because you have like multiple Kung Fu pandas. Because you like the Pangoro and Urshifu line.
True, and the hustle player.
Yeah. um
Well, that's Kung Fu
it,
Panda 4, so there must be 3 Pokemon that are Kung Fu Pandas.
there are if it's well I guess four if you count like uh Pancham as a separate mon from Pangoro and
Yep, I do.
the Urshifus as two different Pokemon.
Yep, that counts.
So that's four. Oh, and also Kubfu, the three of us. So there's five Kung Fu pandas. Um, though I don't know if the
Is it Kung
Urshifus are
Fu Pandas
pandas.
or Kung Fu's
They're
Panda?
just Kung Fu Kung Fu's panda.
Yep,
That's probably yeah.
agreed.
Um, and then you got all like we have like multiple polar bear mons. Like you have the Cubchoo and what's it called the Beartic. You have the Teddy Ursa line, Ursa Ring, Ursa Luna Blood Moon. You have um what's it called? The pink one from Alola. Stuffles, the small one, and then
Beware.
Beware is and then I'm sure there are even more. Isn't there
There's
like a
probably
starter?
more.
There's probably a bear starter, right? Or like something similar. Maybe.
Does Boar? No, that's a boar.
No, it's such a boar.
I mean, it looks like a bear. If we're saying Slowking is a bear, okay.
No, the reason I said that Slowking was a bear is because the ears. Because I think those are
Is
bear
Snorlax
ears.
a bear? Snorlax is pretty bear-like, right?
Yeah. I would say that falls in like the same category
The
as
bear adjacent
Slowking.
category?
Yeah, bear adjacent. Where it's just like it's
I
a
think it's more
Pokemon,
bear
but it's like it
adjacent than
has bear.
Slowking.
Yeah, probably. It has less
even
things that are
hibernates, dude.
it has less things that are non-bear than Slowking does. But I think the specific elements that make me think that Slowking is a bear are more bear than Slowking. I mean than Snorlax.
But
like the
Slowking is
ears.
Slowking's trying to wear pants. Bears don't wear pants.
Slowbro doesn't wear pants though.
Slow bear.
Yeah, and they're both slow and lazy. Like I think they're.
Did you say Beartic? I don't remember.
Yeah, Beartic, Cubchoo. Are there like other like breeds of bear that have?
What about like the genies? Are the Therian genies kind of bear-like?
No, I think monkey was already enough of a stretch for them. They're ogres. They're like ogre.
Are monkeys
humanoid
bears?
thing.
If you think about it,
they're not. They're just not bears.
just emphatically no.
Yeah.
Okay. We're moving on to Rose of the Kitsune now. And I'm very surprised by this community rating.
6.63.
Yeah, 6.63. I think that's very low. I think this team is really cool.
But it's mostly
there is a 2.
Actually.
I'd say the main problem with the team is like the water type is Tauros, and that feels kind of bad, I guess.
I actually don't think Tauros is the worst. Like Paldean and Tauros,
it's really not. And you have a
decent.
you have a Drampa as a water resist too, if you need it.
And your grass type is a Terra Captain, so it's like not even always an ice weakness.
Yep.
You have a Jirachi that resists ice.
It's also your fairy type though, to be fair, so it goes both ways.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got Fizdef with
Psychic,
Mandy, you've got Spadef with like Jirachi, you have Wincons like Booster Boulder, CM Jirachi, Nidoking just hits like a truck. I feel like Nidoking with Zera is a pretty good combo.
Hold on, I just noticed something.
And Bulu as well. Bulu with Terapagos feels really strong.
Nidoking and your Terra Tapu Bulu are your only fighting resists on a team with 3 normal types. Your flying type.
Okay, there are 3 normal types technically.
Yeah. I guess fur doesn't really count. But your flying type and both of your psychic types are neutral to fighting.
Is Nidoking a bear?
I don't think so. I think he's more like reptilian. It's weird.
Nidoqueen a bear?
I don't think so. I don't know. Like they're kind of like they're.
Because I agree, they're kind of like kaiju-y, right? Like a little bit reptilian.
But like also there are things that like indicate that like mons like that have fur. When it's like you don't really think of them as like furry mons, but it's like, oh, the Nidorans
are these are not furry. They're like hard outer shell.
Yeah. But like you would think that like I don't know if Nidoking is a specific example.
Reptile skin.
But there are mons that like look like they're not furry mons, but then it's like they'll like reference like its fur is so fine when you pet it, and it's like what, there's no fur visible on this mon. It's like it's hard to tell sometimes if these mons are mammals or not because they just like because they all have like mammal elements to them, but like who knows really.
Is Bulu furry?
Bulu? Tapu Bulu? I think he's made of wood. I think all the
so he doesn't have fur.
If he has fur, it's like horsehair and stuff that was like ornamental. Like
okay, which of the Tapus have fur?
I don't think any of them have fur. I think they all
No.
have. I think they're all made of like wood with like straw or hay or like hair that was, I guess if they're
Even on like the
born naturally,
skin-like parts, you think it's just like
I think it's wood
wood
or like
skin?
stone or seashell in like Lele's case. Like I think it's all because they're all like relics. Like they're kind of like they're like based on like dolls and statues and stuff like that. So
Mm.
any of the elements that like represent those things are meant to be like the same thing when you made a doll that has those things. It's like, yeah, it has hair, but like it's not its own hair. Like it didn't like grow that hair, which it's like hard to say for a Pokemon that like lives in the wild. But I think for legendary specifically, you can kind of make the argument that it's like, well, they're not like genetically like that. Like they could be like that for any reason. They could have been a doll that was brought to life. They could have been uh a thing that Arceus just created to be a model of something. Like, it's not the same as like Nidoking was born as a Nidoran. So like if it has hair when it's born, like that's its hair, right? Like so, but
True.
I think it's a little bit different with like with legendaries like that. I would say that anything that any of the Tapus have
I don't want to talk about
are
this anymore.
are based on man-made constructs of those things that
Sure.
are meant to represent real
That's very fair.
things.
I'm
Is
quite
Tapu
done, I
Bulu a
think.
bear?
I realized halfway through that conversation, why are we talking about this like Pokemon skin?
Was it because you asked if Nidoking was a bear?
Yeah, and that was a mistake.
Yeah,
I should have known that it would have been a 10-minute bear hole.
bear hole.
A bear hole.
I
So
think
I
it's called a
have
den.
some thoughts. I have thoughts on the team, and I think I've kind of made my opinion clear when I was surprised that it had a below
Yeah,
average
you
rating.
you rate it high.
Yeah, I do rate it well, and again, I know that I rate grassy terrain teams that like use the terrain fairly effectively pretty well. But why do you think this might have gotten so much lower of a rating?
Um, honestly, I think people are biased against Terabulu a little bit.
Hmm.
Um, I think you see the normal type as your most expensive mon, and no normal resist. Well, Nidoking. No like defensive normal resist until Bulu, who's your Terra Captain. Um,
You mean defensive
overlap
normal
psychic.
resist?
Not normal resist. I mean fighting resist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. That's yeah. Um, you see like double psychic taking up a lot. There was another Terrapagos team that was like a lot of the top mons were good, but they were like all monotype, and then there was like monotony in the few dual types that did exist, and until you started getting into like actual types further down. Um, so maybe that's why someone looks at it and like doesn't pass the eyeball test. I think it's like it. I don't want to say it's like Mega Kangaskhan because obviously it's a much better mon than Mega Kangaskhan, but like in the same sense where it's like it's hard to like look at this mon being your 19 pointer and like not doing anything with type matchups and then having to like rely on the rest of the team to kind of do that. Like, not that it's a bad thing, but when you're rating a team and you're like looking at the chart, I think that tends to make people a little bit more I don't know, like particular
A little
about like what the
apprehensive,
rest of the
right?
types are. Yeah, like you better make sure that the rest of your type chart looks good if this is what the top of your like if this is what the top of it looks like.
Yeah,
It's and
I
again
could
it's
get
not a
it.
mark against these mods. Like I actually don't think it's like a major drawback. I think that's just the bias playing in like when somebody's just looking through the teams and like why somebody might like take a point off if you look at
Yeah,
that. So
yeah, and then just over the course of 16 responses, taking 1 point away each time moves it from a 7.63
yeah,
to a
yeah, because there's
6.63.
still a 9. I don't know if that's your 9.
No, I actually was
But
gonna give it a 9, but there were kind of like you said, like the double psychic, the fighting resist, like you're right, and even just the Drampa kind of like being a weird doubling with Pagos. I like
yeah.
the grass immune, but like yeah, like maybe there are better things to do here.
Wait,
but it still feels like really
Oh,
strong, and
Saxifrage.
I'm just so surprised.
Yeah. I think it's also people unless you trust Nidoking, you don't trust Nidoking.
Yeah,
So I
I
think that's
maybe that's a good point. I'm a big
yeah.
Nidoking believer,
Me too.
and
Like
I'm also a big
I think he's
Mandibuzz
pretty good.
believer,
Yeah.
and I'm also a big Jirachi believer.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'm a
And
Terapagos
Boulder.
and Zeraora
What about
believer.
like Boulder's
Oh yeah.
another one that like I think Boulder's a fraud. I'm one of the
I'm
Boulder
not.
haters.
I still am
But
undecided about Boulder,
yeah.
honestly.
He's like good. He's good enough that like I don't think he's like underpriced or anything. Like I feel like he's hard to price low. I just don't trust him. Like it's
Yeah. So I think
so,
something like okay, the team could use something between Jirachi's and Boulder's speed tier.
speed. Yeah.
I will say because this Tauros is 100, right? It's the
Yeah.
bulkier one. Yeah. Um, but like having Zera outspeed your booster Speedmon is something we've talked about before with Valiant, and that's
Yeah.
very good. And just having something like around the 110 area that makes it so the Boulder doesn't have to be the only thing really competing for that speed tier as well would be nice for it. Um, and I guess the double psychic feels a little odd, but you've got a great dark resist in Mandy, a great ghost resist in Mandy, and two normal types, and Bulu for dark as well. So I'm not even really worried
Okay.
about
What about the
the
ground
double
matchup?
psychic.
That's it.
The
Actually, I just
ground matchup,
noticed
the ground matchup is
it's Mandibuzz.
worse, but Mandibuzz Bulu kind of blankets a lot
Hair
of it, right?
captain though. Yeah. But that's also like
And honestly, even Intimidate Tauros can
yeah,
beat a
yeah,
lot of ground
Taurus does
types too.
handle a lot of that. I think it's more the fact that it's like you have you have the two psychic types and they share a different weakness. That's like not a different weakness. It's the
Yeah, the
same weakness,
ground.
but from their other type.
Yeah,
It was
that's
like
fair.
another team that we just saw that had the same thing. It was the Mo and the Coco. So they don't share
Yeah,
weakness.
yeah.
Oh wait, they do. It's
They
their
do,
other
yeah.
type.
Yeah, true.
So
And I guess
and then
also the
also
scald
the
resist is just Drampa
Zeraora
because you
is
don't
also
want
a
your
ground
water,
weakness.
you don't want your water or your grass switching it on scalds.
Yeah.
That's
And
pretty tough.
you were saying that like the Mandibuzz and Bulu can kind of like blank the ground types. Sure, but four of your top mons are still weak to ground. Like that's still not
Yeah,
good. Like
yeah, for your top five. Now about Terapagos though, I like it is a normal type, obviously through and through, but it's also just like
it's
a
everything.
Pokemon that no matter what
Look at its shell.
takes
It's
one.
everything.
Yeah, it takes one,
Yeah.
whatever it is, and if it's not a fighting type hitting it, it probably takes two, and I
Yeah,
think
for
that's
sure.
important enough.
I agree. Like I think he's really good. And when I was saying
Yeah,
before, like why I think that like people might look at this and underrated, I'm more talking from the perspective of somebody just like scrolling through the list. Like if you're not like
yeah,
thinking
yeah,
about
yeah,
every single one in depth, it's like yeah, he carries a lot of weight. Like I don't think that that's like a mark against the team that he's the most expensive and that it's a normal type. I think it's just something that people will maybe look past when you see that the first two are mono normal type or mono types that are not really known for anything other than their offense or like so.
yeah.
Not the mon, but the
Um,
type.
yeah, I yeah, ground is still kind of a problem. I guess you could say that the switches for ground are going to be pretty obvious because like
Yeah.
I mean every time I look at ground matchups, I go, does the ground switch lose to Mamoswine?
I was gonna say,
And
yeah, they're
usually
both
the
also
case is
weak to
yeah.
ice. Yeah.
Usually that is the case.
Yeah.
I do think that Tauros Paldea is actually like Aqua Paldea Tauros at least
He
is
would deal
actually
with
pretty decent
Mamo.
for a lot of that.
Yeah. For specifically like
But
the ground ice combination.
yeah.
Even if it's not
Yep.
stab.
Um and I guess the hazard setters aren't oh well you have
It's
Nidoking too
Rachi.
actually. I was gonna say
Rachi,
it's only
Nido
Jirachi,
King.
but you have Jirachi Nido, you have Terapagos Mandy for removal.
Yeah.
I think
I
Drampa
think
can
Hazard's
remove
fine.
too. Yeah, it's not even a problem. There's maybe that a bit of a speed gap, and Tauros and Jirachi would like to be bulky and not have to carry that weight.
Yeah.
But minor things that to me warrant it still around an 8 for me personally.
Yeah. I think an eight's fair. I mean like the Mons are strong.
Yeah.
It's 0-2 though, so GG. All right,
Yeah,
next one.
unfortunately. Yeah.
Mang Mang Manglalan. Manglalan.
I think that's about how you pronounce it. I have internally in my head been saying Manglalan, Manglalan. I think I usually say Manglalan in my
You could say
brain, but I've never
triple
said it out loud like that.
MC 1125, which is the showdown name.
Hmm.
This team got a 7.31.
It did, and it looks like it's warranted. I mean, funny enough, this is where the Zapdos Galar went,
Oh,
and it's
there
on
it is.
exactly what we said it would be with Goldengo Hazard Stack.
Yeah, and another
Strictly
flying
as a
type.
Defiant one. Yeah, true. I
So
mean,
not
this
the
seems pretty tried and true. There's basically two directions that you can go if you like round one Golden Go. You can go like Gliscor, or you can go Tinglu, or you can go Samurott, Hisui. This went Gliscor and Samurott, and then got a fast special attacker, and then Gyaptos. Or is that the same order that it was drafted in?
It
Okay.
was Goldango, Gliscor, Hammerot,
Yeah.
Moth.
Oh, so it looks like actually
Gyaptos was
Gyaptos
a little
was
bit later.
maybe an afterthought.
It was after the first Terra Captain.
Hmm. I mean, Yuxi, I think, is a very good captain,
I
personally.
agree.
Yuxi,
Yeah, both of these
Mesprit, I think, are
captains are
both
good.
really strong.
Both of these captains are good, and you're using all your
Yep,
points.
yep, good utility
Like
here.
Sap Sipper,
Um,
Terra, Gudra.
yeah, I like that even though your water and your grass don't want to switch in on Scalds, you still have Gudra.
Yeah.
Your ice resists, even though they're not ideal, with Samurott and Moth, you still have Golden Go
Yeah.
to help support the Gliscor. I think
And
like
Terra, Gudra.
defensively,
Like if you already
yeah,
Terra him and he just can take any Ice Beam pretty much.
yeah, honestly, Golden Go Gliscor is pretty nice together. I'm a little bit concerned about early game knockoffs because they'll want to be aimed at the Golden Go anyways and could just catch Gliscor on the switch before it
Yeah.
gets its poison off. And I actually really think that Zapdos Galar, even though it's a fighting resist, is very reliant.
Is
Like
very what?
it's very reliant on its item as well. Like not
Yeah,
having
okay.
a
I thought you
band
said it was
or a
very
scarf,
reliable. It's like, no, it's not. It doesn't want to lose its choice
reliant on
band.
its item.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's like if yeah, it basically without an item. This is why I think we don't see very much bulk up Gyapdos because it doesn't really like it's fairly bulky, but it doesn't like then have the speed to convert that into much.
Yeah.
Um,
Or
so if
the
you can ban,
recovery.
you
Like
can
I
play
think if
more hit and
Gyaptos
run.
had Roost, you would see bulk up Gyaptos all
Yeah,
the
oh,
time.
absolutely.
But
That'd be
yeah.
really good. But like it doesn't really have the speed, so you maybe have to run agility. I think it has that, or
Yeah,
like
that's agility.
Trailblaze. I think it has one of those.
It is both.
And then how much better is that than just a more hit and run band set?
Right. Well, that
Um,
was the thing. Like when I've used Gyaptos before, like I've had sets where like I've done like I've considered doing like bulk up Trailblaze or bulk up agility just to like have the stats. And it's like in the amount of time it took me to do this, I could have just clicked Brightbird twice, taken the same amount of chip that it took while setting up, and probably punched a bigger hole in the team and became less of a liability if I had to swap out. Like, because then you also can't pivot. Like you can't like if you're because you need to run both your stabs, and then if you're taking up the rest of your move slots with two different setup moves, it's like no more U-turn, no more coverage move, no knockoff, no like yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of things.
yeah. I didn't even consider it as also a Weber
Yeah,
with Rabombi.
Rabambi's another good lead too,
Yep. And there's
and
a
a knock
spinner too with
resist as
Serena.
well.
Yeah, yeah,
Not that like
technically, yeah.
Rabambi really counts as a resist, but it's like it's another mon to like kind of deter just clicking knock on the
Yeah.
leadoff
Now,
spot.
Golden Go is totally fine, just like permanently running a Culver Berry. I think
True, yeah.
it's nice when it can run like
Covert plug or something.
leftovers or specs or yeah, covert or like whatever. Um and I also think that Samurott is not that reliant on its item,
Yeah,
especially because even for scarf sets, you can still have like Sucker Punch or Aqua Jet to help
right.
it outspeed certain things.
The scarf set,
Um
I feel like it's mostly for like
it's
just the first turn anyway. Like it's just kind of like just guaranteeing that you're getting your layer up, which is
yeah,
like if it
most
gets
of the
knocked off
time.
after that. Yeah, I mean obviously you prefer to keep it, but I don't think it's terrible if you lose it if you still get the value out of it.
Yeah. No, I mean the fact that your spikes could miss.
Oh yeah, true.
But yeah, I mean, Samurott doesn't really mind. It's just a very like
And
expendable
Moth,
Pokemon, right?
after
Like,
boosters, is a knock ignore
yeah,
kind
its
of.
defense is so
It's not
low
very
though. It's tough
yeah.
to, yeah. So
So
yeah, I do think that like once Gliscor gets the poison off, it isn't the end of the world. You can just go
yeah,
into that infinitely on
right.
knockoff users, not named like Weavile Mamoswine.
Yeah. Or if Hammerot flip turns on something that's faster than it, then you can just get the guaranteed toxic.
Yeah, does a double flying here with Gyapdos Gliscor
I think that's
matter?
fine though. I was saying that like I like that Gyapdos isn't holding all the weight of being the flying type.
Yeah, yeah,
Because Gliscor isn't an offensive flying type. It's one of the flying types that like doesn't have Brave Bird, doesn't have Hurricane. Like it doesn't. It's it's not like they're doing completely different things, and I
yeah.
think
It's
they
more like the
both
Lando.
appreciate that.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I think this team has a lot going for it. Even speed, I feel like is pretty okay. You go
Yeah.
from even if we started down at like Samurott and Golden Go in the 80s, down or up to Gliscor in the 90s. I guess Gudra's in the 80s too, technically.
Yeah.
You got Yuxi that doesn't
Yuki's
have to be fast
95.
but can be, same as Gliscor. Like as long as one of those two are outspeeding like things that are slightly faster than Golden Go, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Same as Gliscor, or I think I already said Gliscor
Yeah.
rather.
And it also means that
Gyapdos, Moth, yeah, like
Gyaptos having a
Rabambi.
scarf doesn't just mean that there's a rift between, you know, unboosted Moth and whatever didn't run speed.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I like this. I like the layered speed here a lot. I do think that Rabambi capping your speed is a little bit inconsistent. So it makes me think that Zapdos is going to be scarfed more often
Yeah.
than it'll be like handed,
Which I think
which
is
is fine. Like
fine.
it's
But
not the end of the
actually,
world.
well, you also have sticky webs though, so that even though Rabambi itself, I know you're saying like it doesn't really count speed because like the 124, like being your speed cap, but the webs do mean that like Gyapdos can run band and do scarf things in a lot of cases. Now the issue is that who's immune to webs? Well, flying types that are going to kill Gyapdos if he's not faster than them. But it is what it is.
Yeah. And I mean, removing those webs and just the hazards in general is going to be really tricky against the
Yeah.
Gyapdos Gold.
Yeah, I
Because
think they're
like if
more.
it's Scarf, that's part of the reason too why I think Scarf is a lot more threatening on this team is if you get a Defiant boost off, you could just win the game with like close
True.
combat on it.
Yeah. I think the fact that like heavy duty boots exists too though, and like any number of like levitate or flying mons means that sticky web is a hard thing to like guarantee as your win condition. Like it's more like annoying for your
Yeah,
opponent
it
for
is
like
annoying.
them trying to
Yeah,
set it up than being like well, we win from here as long as webs stay up, because you never really know
yeah.
like who else is going to come in or who's going to be like immune to the webs and
Well,
slightly
that being
faster.
said,
So the scarf actually makes that still a non-issue, but more threatening to opposing scarves who aren't wearing boots, right? Like
yeah. That being said, though, there's a lot of knockoff on this side of the field too. I mean, and there's two tricks, right? Like Rabambi has Switcheroo, Golden Go has Trick, and then Gliscor, Samurai, Gudra, Yuxi, Serena all have knockoff. So
Gaptos.
good luck even keeping all of your boots around. I think you're gonna have at least two knocks every game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it's a good team.
I think there's a lot of good to see here, and I think the community mostly agrees with me, but there's a few stragglers that
Yeah,
really didn't like this team,
I don't know why
like
those ones
a
were
4, a 5, and a
so low.
6. Meanwhile, most of the votes seem to be 8. So
Yeah,
it does. The team did end up with a 7.31,
yeah, I don't
and I
remember
gave
what
it
was
an
so
8
low.
myself.
Yeah, I think an eight's good. Maybe
Yeah,
even a nine. I might even give it a
yeah.
nine.
Honestly, I think 9. It could very well be worth it now, and a
Yeah.
couple people agree with you.
All right, so let's move on to
Super
Super Hot,
hot thunder.
and that is a 6.88 with a 1, but also with six
A
sixes
1 and 2 tens.
and two tens. Okay, is this going to be a meme
Yeah.
team? I feel like it's going to be a meme team, just
It's
based
not
on that
even really that
spread.
much of a meme team. So I gave it a 6, and most people like 6 is the highest distribution as well. Um, it is rated just below a 7, I think, because except for the one, every other vote was of a 6. But
Oh, that's
it to
true.
me it felt like it was everything was just missing like one thing to me. Like this is a more than serviceable team. You can bring Lando, Kurum, Melm, Enamorus, Urshi, and your pick of the litter
One of these
for the
three.
last slot.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of those whatever every game, and it will do totally fine. Um, I'm not like it's just it feels like it's very there's a lot of selfish Pokemon here, right?
Yeah.
Like Enamorus, Melmetal, Kyurem, Urshi, like very, very selfish. They want to do one thing and they want a team around them to support them. And the supporting actors are what? Lando T
Lando
is your support,
and
Army,
Starmie.
Amoonguss, Incineroar, and
Incineroar
both
kind
of
of, yeah.
and the Terra
Amoonguss.
Captains felt kind of mid to me too, right?
I think Terra Incineroar might have a play on the right team. Terra Amoonguss seems kind of pointless.
Again, like they're fine. It
Yeah.
seems too fair for
Yeah,
how
there's no sauce with
like
those.
yeah, there's no setup for anything, right? Like
Yeah.
you're trying to win a game and I feel like you're throwing your Pokemon onto the field and saying go have fun, right?
Yeah,
Which
like good luck resisting this. I hope you
yeah,
can.
which is
Like,
like fair, but it's a very like reduction, like a very reduced
yeah.
way of playing. And I think if you're trying to beat people, if you really think that people around you don't know how to like take on the threats that you're throwing at them, maybe that's true. I don't know, but I think it's a almost lazy way of playing and building is, here's my Kyurem. I click freeze dry. I Melmetal clicks double iron bash, I click a I pick a choice item and I click Moonblast on my Enamoret or
Pick
close
a
combat
choice
on my
item and
right. It's
yeah,
like
on Hershey.
yeah,
Yeah.
it feels like it's the choice item team with
It really
Starmie.
is.
Starmie is the removal and Lando is the setting, and that's
Lando
that's
could also
it
be
for
removal.
yeah, that's it for the hazard game. Um, and Emrys and Kyurem don't want to have to run boots because they kind of want to be choiced or something on this team.
Also, it's your favorite kind of team where Namorous is the only fairy type.
Yeah. And where the 115 that caps out the speed is kind of mid.
Yeah. Um. Also, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think there's a single Trick Room setter on this team, right? Unless Starmie gets it. I don't think
I
Starmie
don't
gets
know
it.
if Starmie gets it.
Maybe
It would
Haunter. Haunter
be
doesn't get it.
odd. Trick
I
Room.
just
It
think because
does
it's a
get Trick
psychic
Room.
type. It does. Okay. So
Yes.
technically, you have a Trick Room angle here, but are you clicking Trick Room on Starmie? Probably not.
Probably not.
I I don't think
You're more
Trick
likely to
Room
click
is.
Charge of Bug Webs.
Yeah. True. Um, I don't think it's like normally like when you have a mon like a slow mon that could take advantage of Trick Room. Like it's not always necessary. I think that Melmetal and like Terra, Alolan, Marowak are two mons that if you don't have Trick Room and you drafted it, you're wasting some of their potential. Like you like obviously very differently tiered mons between those two, but like it's an example where it's like, hey, if you're gonna draft this low tier Terra Captain and you're a Alolan Marowak, it's like at least get something that can feasibly run uh Trick Room, right? Melmetal is
Yeah.
like the same thing minus the Terra Captain. It's like if you're gonna draft the 18-point Melmetal, he's gonna be good without Trick Room. He's gonna be way more one dimensional and predictable if you don't have the threat of Trick Room that they have to prepare
Yeah,
for.
you can't
So
elevate it, right? And that's
yeah,
that's what I mean. It's I really feel like draft is a lot about elevating the level of the Pokemon on your team that you're
yeah,
trying to support, rather than just showing your collection of cool Pokemon cards to your friend, right? That's
yeah.
kind of what this feels like. Where like look at these are my like 10 favorite Pokemon that I got. Isn't it cool, right? Meanwhile, your only Spadef on the team is like Amoonguss. Your only speed on the team is Starmie, right? It
Amoonguss,
definitely
who
feels like
notably
so
has
many
80 Spadef.
yeah. So
Actually,
I guess
Incineroar is your
AV
Spadef.
Incineroar. Yeah,
Yeah.
AV Incineroar, I guess, is your Spadef.
AV
It
Melm could also technically be Spadef, but
yeah, sure. It just feels a little half-baked and like not too much thought was put into it other than I click big button.
yeah.
So I gave it a 6. I mean, I think that honestly is probably kind of generous because I just kind of don't like the
Uh,
team. The more
I
I
don't think it's
talked
too
about the team, I
generous.
realized I'm just saying bad things about the team, not good things.
Well, because the good things are just look up this mon on Smogon and see what it does. Like those are the
Yeah,
good things about the team, which is why I would say that I don't think that's too generous. Like I actually like I think we might be
yeah.
underplaying the
There are
solo win
things that the
potential
team
of
can
these
do.
mons. Like it's like they're
Yeah,
still all very good mons and they can win games. Like there's no reason that you can't win a game with Lando, Cura, Melmetal, Urshi, Rapid. Like they'll win
yeah.
games. It's fine.
This
Um,
is, you know what? I've come to realize this is a good team for somebody who wants to bring the same six every week and
true.
just not change their sets. Like, not that I'm saying that's what he's doing, but
No, but it's like you're
it seems
getting
like
the
the
same
Truant special, right? Of
production.
like I bring these six sets every week and
Yeah.
I play with them and sometimes I win.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's an example of like a very high skill floor team, but a very low skill ceiling. Like
Yeah, you're right. They're very close
there's
together.
just no variance. It's good, but it doesn't get much better. Like
Yeah,
it's
well,
like
the variance is which Pokemon has which choice item,
yeah.
and are you running
Or
setup
which
Lando?
mon got
Is
like
basically
critted at
it.
the wrong time on either seat on
Yeah,
either side
true.
that like changed the outcome of the game. Like it's just gonna
Yeah,
come
true.
down to like that kind of stuff. There's just not a lot of like there's not a lot of room for skill expression, which I think is fine for a truant team. If you'd rather
Yeah.
not have to focus on the skill expression part and just focus on like playing the games and getting the experience and knowing kind of like what opposing teams prep against you like and like kind of like getting used to like that sort of playmaking, it's fine. It's just you're not going to get a lot of like sauce out of it. Like you're not going to be able to like, experiment much offensively because it's just going to kind of be the same thing.
Something I do like is I think Enamorous's Healing Wish will be really nice on this team.
That's true. Yeah,
I
I
think
think it was a good
Melmetal,
one.
Kyurem, Lando, like hell, even Urshi, if you're
Yeah,
running like Scarf and somebody has a Rocky helmet or something, right? You
yeah,
could be really low off of like chip. Could have been like static paralyzed or something. That Healing Wish could come in pretty
right.
clutch.
Yeah,
Yeah, just pretty one-dimensional, but like one-dimensional isn't necessary. I think it just doesn't tick the boxes that like I would want it to tick.
yeah. Thanks fair.
Yep.
All right.
I think
Well,
we
moving
can
on.
go on from there though. Yeah.
Yeah, we have our fox hunter, the natural predator to Rosie the Kitsune,
Oh no.
who got a 7.13 with
Yes, they
a
did.
Megalopsizor Dirge, non-Terra Dirge. But Terra as well. Wasn't there a team? No, it might have been Mesprit. Where there's like it was like a Terra. It might have been a Terra Dirge and like a Mesprit, and you're like, I would like to maybe see Terra Mesprit if instead of like the
Hmm.
2-point mon that was with Dirge. I don't remember exactly. I feel like that came up.
Was
Anyway,
it Dirge? It was. Yeah, I was considering that. I'm not
yeah.
100%
I think
sure.
it was another team where it was like a 14 or 15 pointer that was like a good Terra captain, but then it wouldn't work with like the 11-point Mesprit. So this is a case where it's
Yeah.
like, oh, they're opting not to do the Terra Scissor or the Terra Dirge or the Terra Prim or the Terra Shocks to do the Terra. Okay. Uh, now that I'm reading through those, that's a lot of good Terra captains that we just opted not to use to do Terra as of. But
Yeah.
Wo-Chien without Terra is probably pretty bad. So if you're using the 8-point low tier mon, you can't use any of these ones. So
Yeah,
Azelf is,
I
and
think
not the
Azelf is
worst
fine.
compromise. So yeah, like it's
Yeah.
still a good Terra captain. But it is kind of
Yeah,
crazy.
like
Like it seems like so
Scizor
many
and
teams
Dirge.
end up with these kinds of combos because it's like banned, 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 banned. Oh, this one's allowed. Okay, well, I guess we better find
Yeah.
something more. This one's kind of the opposite, where it's like better make
Yeah.
use of this low tier one. So let's just do this combo.
Yeah. But yeah, Scizor and Dirge are like, and even Sandy Shocks too are pretty good
Yeah,
combos. But if you wanted Woshen,
you couldn't
then
do
yeah,
it.
you are just kind of stuck with Azelf. But it
Yeah,
feels odd to me to like pass up those two great options
yeah, they're
for
still good.
Woshen, which is
Yeah,
fine. I do think that Terra Woshen is actually pretty strong.
yeah,
Um, but it just feels weird to go out of your way to make Azelf the captain
right.
when,
When you
again, I'm
have the other
personally just not
options.
an Azelf believer. Yeah, when you have other really strong options. Like it makes sense on like Sau's team who was like, oh, I'm gonna Terra Rotom because I want to Terra Regis. Like, no, that's not the case, it's because everything else is Terra banned. But the whole team is Terra legal except for Lopunny.
Yeah.
That's it.
And a lot of them are good Terra captains.
Yeah, like even Zapdos, you could Terra. I don't know how good Terra Zapdos is, but like you very well
probably
could.
a waste of a 17-point Terra captain.
I feel like static fairy type is pretty good, or static
it's good.
whatever
It's good.
type is, like,
I just don't know if you'd invest this 17 points in it when he's also very good as an electric flying type. You know.
Yeah.
But
I think the core of this team is very strong. So
yeah,
just to be clear, I gave this an 8. Like I actually rate it higher than
I think it's a
community
good
does.
looking team. Yeah.
I like this team, and again, I'm not a big believer in Azelf. Even as a Terra captain, it's definitely much better as a captain. But it doesn't get Terra Blast, so it doesn't have extra coverage. You're kind of just doubling down on a stab or on a coverage type to get a certain Oko, more often than not. Or maybe you Terra to a defensive type to get a nasty plot off. I don't know. Regardless, when you have a Mega Lopunny that is also there helping you with the speed, Azelf doesn't feel as necessary to bring.
Yeah.
It might feel a little bit more necessary to bring now, Captain, but at least even with like Sandy Shocks, you have another speedster with a booster energy.
Yeah.
So, and you
know
have
weird,
like Pryo
though?
from Scizor.
So one of Azelf's like main coverage moves that it actually does get is T-Bolt.
Yeah.
And you have Shocks like as like right there that you could just, again, not with Wochen, but you could just have a Terra Shocks with something else.
Yeah, again, it makes me feel like Fox Hunter wanted to run Woshen.
Yeah.
And just picked a 12-pointer that like was fast and could Terra with it.
And not be
there's nothing
like a bad Terra
necessarily wrong with that. It's just the opportunity cost is like Scizor and Dirge, which are very good captains, and even Shocks, which is
if you wanted
only
to do,
a
like,
slight downgrade for Motion.
Yeah. Something I noticed, this is like the benefit of doing this 3 weeks into the season. Dragalge has come twice so far, and it's not a Terra Cap, it's just a 9-pointer. I'm wondering, I wonder if this is a defensive need or an offensive need, and I don't know the answer yet because I'm kind of like looking at what these. I don't know what else was on these rosters or something on my head. But like, it made me think like, do we need a fairy resist? No, we have Scizor. Do we need, which he's not even a resist, he's Dragon type too. But like, still Spidef and also like answers fairies pretty well.
Yeah, it's bulky enough to kill him.
Yeah. Do you need like a just a blanket Spidefmon? Not really when you have Prim, and Scizor is like not terrible. I guess he's not the most Spidefmon, but the typing just helps shrug things off. Do you need like a fighting answer? No, you have Prim, you have Zapdos, a really good fighting answer. You have Dirge, a really good fighting. Like, I'm wondering like what they thought the Dragalge was needed for. Aside from
I think you want just a viable grounded poison. Yeah, if I were to guess, and it's one of the few grounded poisons that pivots around too, right?
Yeah,
with flip turn.
Yeah,
and
I'm not even just saying hard on the roster entirely. I'm saying more like in these couple matchups so far. The fact that it's already two of them, like, was it like a? If that's what it was, like, I mean, there is a Petra run. Maybe that's why you want it for like on one of these teams. I don't know. Again, I don't know what the rest of the team was. Maybe it was for Beedrill on this one, and maybe he's never going to come to another game again. Who knows?
But yeah, who knows?
But just like talking about this whole top half being like super solid, and then being like, oh well, so far we brought these two to more games than Dirge, more games than Prim. Now Prim's coming to two. More games than Scizor. Yeah, Lop and Zap have come to every game. Terra Azelf has come to every game. Wochen's come to 2. Dragalge's come to 2. Scizor's come to 1. Dirge's come to 2. Yeah. So, I don't know.
Well, I think it shows that Fox Hunter is like using the whole breadth of their team, which is
good.
Yeah. I think
I just was
and like the team is so sturdy. And the team is so sturdy, right? That like you can bring the core, like as long as you bring maybe 3 of like Zapdos, Scizor, Skeledirge, Prim, Dragalge, Woshen, maybe like 3 of those, and then you can fill in the gaps with like Lop Shocks Azelf, or you can make one of Scizor or Zapdos more offensive than defensive.
Yeah.
Um, then I think
Oh,
you
Shocks
always
hasn't come
have
to
a
a
good team to
game.
bring. Oh,
That's what I was trying to figure out. Maybe it's because of the double electric they don't want to bring, even though they do different things. But maybe that's why it's like hard to fit if you're also trying to fit the lower tier
yeah, it could
mons
be.
on here.
Yeah. Um, there are 2 hazard setters and 2 hazard removers. I do think that Scizor and Zapdos, Zapdos is probably going to be the remover most games
I think that's fair with a team
out
like
of them,
this.
which is
I think you can
fine.
pretty
It
much
just
always
means
run
that
it.
Zapdos is usually defensive. But I guess if you
But you have
want an
Shocks.
offensive Zapdos, you can just have Shocks. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's fine. Um,
I
yeah, and
also
that's not a
I
problem.
also
And I
like
think
the. Go ahead. Keep talking.
funny enough, a good way to keep your Mega Lopunny healthy is to just take the Zapdos, right?
Yeah.
Because that's just one fewer matchup you have to worry about static U-turn
Funny enough,
blocker, right?
that's exactly what I was just about to say. But for Scizor, and I
Yeah.
forgot the Lop was also on the team.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I mean Scizor and
Yeah.
Lop, yeah,
Both of
both.
them are like, oh, let's get rid of the contact bird. I just
Yeah.
don't have to deal with it.
An issue that I do have though is the giant gap in speed tier between what is there like 67 or it's like high
66.
60s, I think. Yeah.
66. Woshan is
Um
70 though.
true,
Weirdly
but so I mean you
faster
have a
than
gap between Woshan and Zapdos. That's a 30-point gap. That's too much for
yeah.
me. And like Woshan is
Yeah, nothing
not
in
ever
the
running
80s or
speed.
90s.
You can run speed okay a little bit on Prim and on Dirge, and like you can on Scizor, but usually it'll just Bullet Punch. Um,
Yeah.
but like everything in the 80 to 90 speed tier is like maybe running a little bit of creep to outspeed zero speed Zapdos
Yeah.
or like slowish Zapdos. For the most part, though, you can just get away with Adamant on like your 80s, and it's going
Yeah.
to be pretty tough, I think,
Maybe not
for
80s,
the
but 90s,
backbone.
yeah. 95s definitely.
I think 80s will just not invest for Zapdos and just run full bulk.
Yeah. I'm guessing like I guess Woshan probably isn't running speed, so
Yeah, I'm not creep. I'd maybe creep like max
Dirge
like 40
or
EVs
Scizor.
on your Woshin or so.
Max speed Scizor is
I
probably the
wouldn't go out
next
of my
thing that
way.
you creep for.
Yeah. I mean, I've
But
seen Azzy run Scarf Woshin before, so you know.
true. I mean, you never know with the Terracut.
Yeah.
Could be anything. But all right, you want to go to our last team?
Yes. Wow, we're almost done. Vortex. Oh, I forgot to mention Fox Hunter and Vortex, both of them. I'll just say it at the same time. Oh, we didn't change the slogan, the tag to
Oh
Fox Hunter.
no. It's also the
Damn it.
longest name in the league. The one
Yeah.
before it.
Yeah. Fox and Vortex both came over from the PWC this season in their Truant NBA debut. And both of them, I think, have pretty good teams. I personally think Fox is a little bit more my style rather, and I rated it a bit higher. But both seem to be doing pretty well. I mean, at least, oh, never mind. Vortex is 0-2.
Oh, the one that
I
you
thought
thought was
Vortex was
better.
2-0, actually. I'm not gonna lie.
You fool.
Well, okay, it's not looking so hot for Vortex.
First thing that jumps out at me. Oh wait, did we say that rating was 6.81?
No. Yeah, 6.81. So also kind of
And
low.
there's a 1.
Funny enough, oh, never mind. It was lower than Fox's. Yeah, I agree. I think it's not quite as good as Fox's.
Yeah, but there is a 1, and most of them are 7s.
True.
Um,
But there was a 2 for Fox, so
yeah, and most of those were 8s.
yeah. Yeah, so
So it's
close
slightly
enough.
worse or slightly better than this one.
Yep.
So the thing that jumps out at me, and again, this isn't immediately a downside because it really depends on what the team is. Your highest point one is a 17 pointer, and it's a one-dimensional 17 pointer that is a strong one-dimensional 17 pointer, but not a lot of flexibility. And then it's just a very spread out team, and then you have your Terra Captain at the bottom for 5 points. So the lowest non-Terra Captain is 10 points. The lowest non-Mega or Terra Captain is 13 points. So like good in a lot of ways, but also it makes me question: are we fitting everything on the team every time? And that's what I'm kind of curious about here, and seeing like
Yeah,
if
and I
there have been
think
any issues fitting things, because I see already Beedrill and Bellybolt have come to both games.
huh.
Actually, same team both games. Same team both games in different order.
Wow. Oh.
So
I think Terra Keldeo is actually pretty similar to Chiyu in that sense, where it's like maybe slightly more flexible than Chiyu, but like just by the nature of having Terra and
mhm.
CM.
Well, also
But like
hitting
mostly does
physical
the same thing.
mons as well. I mean,
Yeah, true.
hitting mons with physical damage that Chiyu doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah, but just being mostly like blanket, like predictable special attacker
Yeah,
with an item flex slot is Keldeo's thing here.
yeah,
And Chiyu is kind of similar in that regard. Latias can be very similar to Keldeo in like, a CM attacker,
yeah. Actually, I didn't even
a
think
Scarf
about that.
attacker, a Specs attacker, like Soul Dew or something, right? Like it can be offensive. I really like the utility of it. It can be screens, can be like T-Wave, can be Healing Wish, even just Wish. I think can be really nice for this team. The team actually, I think, appreciates Wish pretty nice or pretty well. Like Azu, Belly Bolt, Iron Treads, even Glamora. Actually, Glamora is kind of designed to take hits and set T spikes from toxic debris.
Yeah, but
So
doesn't
just
have
being
a
able to
horrible
wish it back
recovery on its
up
own.
would actually be good. Yep. Yeah, so I like the Latias pick here. The treads makes a lot of sense. It gives you a flexible speed tier that it doesn't have to invest in speed
Yeah,
because you have so many things around the same speed tier with Chiyu, Latias, Keldeo that it's not necessary, but it can. Nice pivot, good roll compression. Uh, I guess Beedrill does count as a grounded poison, especially if you're bringing it both games. And my
well, and
concern
Glamora is
with
your
the
other
Mega
one.
Beedrill, oh, true, my bad, I forgot. But my concern about Mega Beedrill is mostly just that wait, what was my concern about Beedrill? Oh,
I was the
the
hazard control is
the
good
the
though.
next fastest was is Latias. So
Oh yeah, so you
maybe
can't
Beedrill,
always win the defensive stuff.
yeah, maybe Beedrill wants to come more often, just like the Crobat situation, right? Where
Yeah,
if it's your only thing that outspeeds the Iron Valiant, like I guess you got to run it, or you lose to
I
like Orb Iron
mean,
Valiant. Yeah,
I'd rather cap my speed with a Mega Beedrill than a Crobat. like,
yeah. I mean, probably,
like as the
potentially.
offensive mon, like it'll actually kill things at least. Whereas like Crobat, I feel like
Yeah,
the issue is like you outspeed it. Now what? like you can't get, like what are
yeah,
you gonna do? Whereas Beedrill's like at least at worst you get chip. You turn on it.
yeah,
I think I what I like with this Mega Beedrill though is you got good hazard control, um, and not overly reliant on like defog because you have your spin on treads, you have your mortal spin on Glamora. You have defog if you need it, like if you really can't run it on if you can't run removal on these ones, but also like why would you want to run defog if you're constantly sitting T
yeah.
spikes?
You're the Glamora team, right?
So it's like so having options to clear hazards on a hazard stacking team kind of, and also benefiting Beedrill being able to pivot around with all these other pivots. I like that synergy. I think my
Yeah,
issue comes
yeah, I mean for sure.
in the overlap and like a lot of other things where it's like some overlap is good. Like you said, like the Latios and Keldeo, like that's like good overlap. It's like they can sometimes do the same thing, but Latios also does things that Keldeo doesn't do. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
bad
And
overlap would be like
sorry, and
Chi-Yu,
Keldeo having like
Keldeo.
the same speed means that Latias can like afford to be bulky, right? And be like
Right.
FizzDef CM or like a bulky Wish, right?
Yeah, and you're not like completely losing that option, like
Yeah,
that speed option. Um,
yeah.
then you also have some like bad overlap though, where it's like Chi-Yu, Keldeo, which not the end of the world. Again, Chi-Yu is strong enough that it's like, who really cares? like you
Yeah,
either
and
have a
it's
Chi-Yu
mostly just
answer
a
or you
roll,
don't.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
How
I
how
think down
desperate?
here is where the overlap kind of gets badish though, where it's like,
I mean, Belly Bolt is Terra. I do think that Belly Bolt without Terra is a much worse mon, but it's still like actually not that bad.
yeah, but don't you
So
want Keldeo to
I'm not
Terra
too
most of the time?
concerned. It does, but Belly Bolt that's not tearing because it has a Terra Hog as a second captain is like really not that bad. Like just mono electric
Yeah.
with recovery and volt switch is like and toxic is kind of all you need. Its type is not. I mean, it's important in that like it's a good monotype to
Yeah.
have, right? Like only one weakness means that you can, if in dire situations, you can just run a Shookaberry instead of like going Terra Grass.
Right. But you can
Yeah,
still
I think that's
bring it
fine.
and mark it as Terra Grass and never intend to click Terra Grass, but then your
Yeah,
opponent still has
yeah,
to respect
exactly.
that.
I mean, you have a Tangrowth for that, which I wanted to talk about Tangrowth a little because I like the Tangrowth.
Oh, you
There's,
do? Okay.
yeah,
I was
there's.
gonna say that I thought that it would be hard to fit on any team with these mods.
I think what it provides to the team is really valuable. So, Chiyu, Treads, and Glamora all being so weak to ground, and the Belly Bolt that doesn't really want to have to Terra over Keldeo. I think just having a ground resist that's like very
It's true.
durable over the course of the game, like that doesn't have to click Roost or Wish, especially something like Latias that still kind of wants to be fast in a lot of cases to like not get subbed on or like outspeed a taunt or something, right? Or hit a certain coverage move before the opponent goes. Having the slower, very like much more resilient version of a ground assist, I think is important to the team. I
Yeah,
don't think it's
that's true.
come yet though, has it?
It hasn't. Well, it
Yeah,
was
it's
the
not
same two. It
come.
was the same teams both times. It was only been 2 games.
Yeah.
Um,
And I think with like Glamora in particular, it's like people are packing ground moves against this,
right.
right? You
Yeah,
need
that's
to be
true. I didn't
prepped
really
for
even
it.
think about the ground matchup. I think my issue was like going back to the point budget here, where it's like usually the downside with a team like this is that it's like, yeah, you have a lot of options, but also like you don't always have like the definitive win button option because you don't have anything above 17 points. So it's like if your 17 pointers hard countered, then like Treads is not 16 points because of its offense. Latios is not 15 points because of its offense. Keldeo is your first offensive one at 15 points, so you kind of have to deal with that. Mega Beedrill is like your main physical attacker aside from like Huge Power Azumarill. But that's like, when is Huge Power Azumarill ever coming over like Keldeo, or not? Kelly's not physical, but like as like the water type before Terra. Anytime like Beedrill's not already punching holes, like I feel like Azumarill would be more likely to come as like a backup water type if Keldeo were Terraing and you still like needed a water type, right? Like
Yeah,
more so than as
that's
a
what I
huge
was gonna
power
ask
mon.
actually.
But
Yeah, I was gonna ask like how desperate do you think the water type situation is that Azu will be coming to be that role? I don't think
yeah,
it's like,
I just
you
don't
know,
think
I
it
don't think it's
ever
that
needs to come.
necessary. If you need the water resist, you have like Tang. If you need the fire resist, you
Well, you have
have
Latios as a water resist too,
yeah,
and
same
one
with
that doesn't
for
care about
fire,
spelling.
right? Yeah. So a lot of the cases that you would want like the second water, you have other options than
Yeah,
Azumarill. I think Azu's mostly just here as a fairy type that can be a physical attacker. I don't think it's that much. It's much more deep than that.
yeah, but and I agree that's like what it's here for, but then that's where it kind of comes into the problem of like how often do you have a spare slot for that
Hmm.
that you're not already like loaded up on these five because you need more than just Chiyu to kill something and kill the other Terra Captain. So these two need to come. Trez is probably coming to most games. Latias is probably coming to most games. It's like is it ever more worth it to bring Azu as like the backup water type or just Tangrowth to beat, ground types and just be fat, or Mega Beedrill to do some offense, or like anytime that you want Belly Bolt to be kind of like a flexible defensive mind. It's like, it's not that I don't think Azu like has a role on the team. It's just like, is that role ever more important than one of these other things that you need? And it's like, with that, if you drop one of these other things from the team to bring Azu, it's like, what win condition did you just uncheck, or like what like did you just get rid of your hazard removal, or does Latias now have to run defog or whatever? For the sake of bringing Azu, which I think is not a very good reason compared to like dropping it to bring something that's worth more, right? Like,
Well, the thing is, I actually think it's Glamora that you can drop, right? Like you
yeah, because you
have
have another
another rocker
poison
with treads,
and you have
and you
another
have another
poison.
poison. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I don't think it's actually going to be that hard for Vortex to bring Azu. I mean, maybe it is going to be because they haven't brought it yet. But like Belly Bolt doesn't
they
have
also
to
haven't brought
come.
Glamora yet.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice if one of Belly Bolt or comes to have like a flying resist to help treads out, I guess.
Yeah,
But I mean, you have a flying resist. Like, it's not like mandatory ever. I think
Right.
any of Belly, Beedrill, Glim, and Azu, and even Tang, they're not going to be totally important. I think the top four come almost every game,
Yeah,
and from there you pick
I
two.
agree. Yeah, but that's why I'm curious if Azu's ever one of the pick two over, one of the, I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah,
I just
I
think
guess
that if
that
you want the
will.
physical puncher, it's just you just bring Breachel, and you can
Yeah,
bring Breachel
it will
over
be
Glim.
determined, I guess,
But
over the
yeah, we have to
season
see
if
more
we see them
games.
bring it.
Yeah.
Over
So,
under 1.5 Azu brings this season. What do you have?
1.5.
Yeah, over
uh,
under 1.5.
kind of the whole season. I'm gonna say under because there's also a chance it gets traded. It could come to one
True,
game and
that's
then get traded.
true. Yeah,
Oh
I'll
wait,
take
is
the over.
it getting brought to by any team or by this team? Because it could
No,
get
by Vortex, by
okay
Vortex.
by Vortex. I'm gonna say under.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say
Okay.
one game,
In
and
just
then it
the
either does
next
its
six,
job or it
in
doesn't.
the next
Right?
six battles, like the week 3 to week 8 battles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'll take over 1.5.
And what if it's one? What if it's 0.5? What if it got stuck
Oh,
halfway loading
the
out a
brain
game?
destroyer. Oh no. Okay, well, I think that about does it for our reviews. It's
Wait, you know what a 0.5 would be?
what's that?
A 0.5 would be if it came to a game and like they forgot to show team or something, so it was a forfeit.
Oh, speaking of, I have a very similar situation to solve right now.
In this
There was
league.
a yeah, there was a forfeit last week, and we
Was the one that we talked about? Was it like Damu versus Handy?
no, it was I think a hustle one where somebody didn't like show team, and so we took away credit for the Mons, but we took it away for both teams instead of one, and we gotta just look at it.
Isn't that what normally happens though?
Yeah,
Poor guys.
yeah. Anyway, um,
That's the strat at the end of the season. If you're like leading on a
yeah,
stat and you don't need the win, just forget to show team against that opponent. Be like, oh sorry, dude,
true.
sorry you got the 6-0, but I forgot to show team, so
Not how it works though. So
so you don't get stats for that now. Like so
no, not
now
how
I
it
get
works.
to stay the
Okay,
kill leader.
what'll happen for that is yeah, you won't get a kill leader, but like those stats don't really matter. Your Pokemon will get stripped of the KOs usually, especially if you just FF. But you'll still get all the diff for it. Like it won't just be a total FF. Basically, the winner of a forfeit will get either +3 or the result of the match that was the match with the error. So if I 5-0 you and you forget to show team, I still get +5.
Yeah, but
But
the
if
Mon
it
doesn't
goes
get the
down to
kills.
1-0, sorry?
But the Mon doesn't get the KOs.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's what
If
I'm
it
saying.
goes
Like,
down to
if you were
1-0
leading the
and
KOs and you wanted to screw that person over and be like, "Oh, sorry, dude. Yeah,
yeah, that's what
I'm
I'm
actually
saying
still
is
the KO leader."
the for fun leaderboards don't matter though. Like
They
nobody
matter.
actually gets
They're the most
screwed
important part.
other than somebody who wants to go for a leaderboard.
I think the for fun leaderboards are actually more important than playoffs
Oh, why were you never on them
because I brought a lot of fat mons that didn't really farm stats.
then?
It's actually true.
Oh,
I very rarely led like kills in any of the leagues I played in because all of my teams are like sack teams where it's just like rotate around until a bunch of things die and then like I'm just finishing things off with different mons. I'm like very rarely
yeah, with like
like
whatever's
sweeping.
alive at the
Yeah,
time.
because it'd be like Greninja will like get a couple of kills and like some of the kills just came from like Clef like holding out against something. Like I would just never lead kills. And there's one season where I had Annihilate, and that's like the only time that I've been a like a kill leader. Actually, that's not true. My Gyapdos was a kill leader in my most recent one that I did, but he was tied with Dragonite.
Mm.
But it's like I usually don't have like a hard carry mon like that. Like 'cause I also like to like bring all my mons like spread it out a lot. So that's another reason why it's like I'll like not have a kill leader because it'd be like, oh, I mean, he could have got that sweep, but like I wanted Ambipom to get it instead, so Ambipom got the sweep. Like, 'cause even though it's like a guaranteed win either way, but it's the mid tier leaderboards that matter. So that's why Ambipom always
True.
gets the favor of being able to do all that. So
It's whatever tier Wigglytuff is in that matters.
well, Wigglytuff is not a kill farmer.
Could
It
be.
will be now that has Moonblast if he
True.
keeps it. gonna be all
I mean,
over the
surely,
place.
right? It evolves with a moonstone. Just give it to it.
Yeah, it should have had it for a long time, but
Yeah,
I
I'm
still
with
think
you on
that I
that.
still think that ZA movesets are going to carry over. They're more similar to the actual function of the game. I would be
Here's
surprised
to
if they
hoping.
got yeah. All right. Well, I think that is it. Was there any other announcements or anything that you want to make before we close up
Um,
the roster reviews for the season?
I I will be making the like definitive tier list uh, tonight probably at some point.
Oh, right, of all the average ratings.
Yeah, just like
Yeah, I
with
forgot
everybody's
that we didn't do
avatars
that.
rated between everything. Yeah, I just need to finish taking screenshots. I took screenshots of all of All Star and Hustle. I just need to two divisions.
Yeah, and then I'll also go through and add timestamps to the VODs.
Perfect.
So
If you stuck around, I mean, I know we haven't had much chat really since a little while ago, but to everybody who came out, thank you. We had the
it's four
typical. We
o'clock on a
had
Sunday.
Tatanga. Yeah, we had Tatanga, Fox Hunter, Sal, Corey. Who else do we have in here?
As he was
I think
here
Azzy was
briefly.
around for a minute. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, he's the most recent chat.
Yeah.
Goater said something. He said, "No, I
Yeah.
haven't checked my chat. I gotta bounce." Did you check
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, I did. That's how I found out about
Oh, that was the DQ
the
thing,
problem. Yeah.
or not the
I'm
DQ,
like,
the
surely,
forfeit.
surely I don't have to pod stream to deal with this right now.
we'll,
This was
we'll
a
just
week 2
debate it on
problem. They can
stream.
live with it for a couple hours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, cool.
Yeah,
All right,
thank you
well,
for coming out once again.
yeah,
And
we'll
that
be
does it
back
for our reviews.
probably
We'll be
after week 4,
back.
right?
Yeah, we'll be back after week 4, after the halfway point.
What
So
week is it now? Are we in week? Like, is this
this is
Sunday
week
the end of week
3.
3?
This
Okay,
is the end of week 3, yes.
so it'll probably be like
So we'll be back
a week
in a
after
week
next.
and a bit
Yeah,
at some point. And yeah, we'll be able to catch up with the replays. There were some really sweet replays that are being submitted to highlight submissions.
yeah,
There aren't too many being submitted, so don't forget if you see a cool battle to submit it there, and we'll look
yeah.
at it.
And we're gonna say that the week doesn't really matter. Like, we'll review just like whatever's popular.
Yeah. My favorite
So
from each division, basically.
yeah. All
Okay.
right.
Enjoy your Super Bowl Sunday, everybody, and we'll